echo alive.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Listen, I still need to make sure I can get in. I do have the new version, so.
I'm here.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Opening the map thingy. Is it still same server name and password?
Should be.
Now, what's the, since I just downloaded the new thing, what's the maximum memory, etc., that I need to put in?
1028 is max mem. You leave min mem alone, and you change stack size to 10.
I'm not seeing the server yet.
I haven't started it yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm getting a few things set up. So you log in as player. Okay, open campaign. And there we go.
Haha, first.
Technically, I was first.
Well, that's a given.
Right. Okay. They let me in. I'm glad.
Alrighty, I'm in too.
I am working on getting in now.
Is Kaze coming?
Enough for another
9:30.
hour.
Alright.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be getting the... We figured out last time around that the issues that Isaac was getting was because of something about, like, the older version didn't play well with his graphics card. And we tried it out, and this one seemed to work fine and also seemed to do better. So hopefully we won't have any issues with it since it is a developmental build. If we do have any, like, major bugs or anything, we'll switch back. But for now, we're going to try it.
There are a
You
couple.
say that, and I just started having issues with it.
Oh no.
Like, I booted it up and went to go select it, and it all blurred out like last time. So I'm just gonna see if it works. Might just been a freak accident.
I'm sending magic your way.
Anyway, I was going to say, this newest version of MapTool, despite being a development build, seems to work just fine. It's got a few features. These buttons up here don't seem to do anything. I mean, I click on GM, and, no, I guess that's just for Fog of War. Never mind, that's not for tokens. And there's no Fog of War in this map, so never mind. The directory folder has a zoom bar now, which was much needed.
Oh, that's nice. I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah, but other than that, everything seems to be exactly the same. Let's see.
Yeah, the campaign file seems compatible. Like, I tried a couple macros and stuff. It hadn't seemed to have messed with anything that I'd already put together, so. Alright. So, while we're in the process of getting everything, everyone together and ready to go, do one of you all want to summarize quickly what happened last session, or do you all want me to?
I can try to. Just
Alright,
make sure
go for
that I remember what happened.
Sure, go for it.
So all of our characters started in the town of Kysium?
Hmm?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay, Kysium. Having nightmares that fit each of our individual personalities. And when we woke up, we all had tattoos on the backs of our hands. Left hand?
Yes.
The backs of our left hands. Which I forget what the tattoos looked like.
It was a symbol of an eye with something coming off of it. Could be tears, could be blood, something along those lines.
It wasn't colored. It wasn't colored.
No,
Yeah, it
no,
was
it was
all
not.
black.
Okay. I don't know if he actually answered me and I just cut out or something.
It
No,
did cut
sorry.
out for you.
Anyway. Yeah, so we went around town trying to figure out what the tattoos meant. And there was this old lady who told us that we were marked by something that needed us for something, and it no longer needed her, whatever that means, but she was covered in tattoos. The orc paladin in the party, Ida? Is that how you say it? Ada. She personally knew somebody in the military. They said,
Yes, my grandfather is. Let me see if I can find his official title. He's the commanding general of the Xanten frontier, which is where we are. That's my grandfather.
Okay, so was that who we were talking to?
Yes.
Yes.
Is your character adopted?
No, I'm half orc, half elf.
Half orc, half elf. Okay. Yeah, and then this other lady came in with letters. Honestly, that scene's kind of a blur.
The other lady was one of the Legion commanders. The Eulos, Ada's grandfather, had showed you all a letter from her. She had been raising some concerns about this problem, and about the time that you all were finishing up your meeting with them, she came in person to come and speak with him about the issues that she'd been seeing in the Legion, who's holding the part of the frontier next to hers.
Did you get
And then
that?
there was some hugging.
And then there was hugging.
So, is that all she came for? Was just to check on things?
Basically, you were not privy to the conversation, but based on her previous letters and her general demeanor, she is basically expecting something to be done, either for him to do something about it himself, or to let her, go in and try to figure out what's happening. Because the garrison, the 14th Legion garrison, has been very much not on the ball recently. There's been an increase in banditry, in random roving creatures around the frontier.
Oh yeah, and several forts were abandoned, right?
Right. Some smaller outposts have just been completely left empty.
Is that these ones that don't have names?
The forts on the map are going to be they're major fortifications. Those are definitely going to still have people there. If they had been fully abandoned, that's definitely something major that people would notice. It's mostly like lookout posts, especially across the river, maybe around this area, on the other side of the bridge.
I thought there was a point where it was said that no one had ever succeeded in crossing the bridge to the east.
The bridge has been crossed, but the Empire has never conquered its way. The legions have gone across, and there are currently trading relations with some of the closer tribes who are a little bit more friendly to the Empire, at least some of them. Some of them are, but every attempt to like march an army over and subjugate the area has been a failure.
Okay, so what's our plan now?
Well, first I wanted to bring up the fact that there does not appear to be a healer in the party, and realizing this, Ada would recommend we go back to visit her grandfather and see if we can get some potions of cure light wounds. Just in case. Any objections?
None here.
Yeah,
At
we'll
least we'll
take
be
a few.
waiting outside. Her grandfather scares him.
We can pick up a few. I suppose that'd be fine.
All right. So who's anybody coming inside with me?
I can come in with you.
All right. So we go. We go.
We do
All
that.
right. So you guys had, as I recall, you guys had just visited the prison, spoken to the crazy old lady, Metia, I believe was her name, and you were kind of using Caius' shop as a temporary base of operations. So that's probably where you guys were, here. So you all, Ada and Caius and Demetia, if she wants to go, and probably Alexander as well, but Alexander's just kind of quietly following behind the rest of the group and not saying anything for right now. Head off back into town, back into kind of the city center, toward again where Ada's grandfather's home / where he does his business from is located.
It's like a mansion, but a frontier mansion.
Yeah. Like, it's nothing super, super fancy, but clearly built by someone who's got a fairly decent amount of money available to them.
What, like the kind of building that the mayor of a settler village would have? Just like
Kind of, yeah.
Just like a
Maybe
giant
a
log
little-
cabin.
Like, not log cabin levels, like the settlements have been here long enough that it's not like this is, first generation settlers. But it's like, think of some of the cities in like colonial America, not as fancy as like big palaces back in, England or over in Europe.
So red brick.
Yeah. I haven't really decided exactly on the architectural style, given that we're drawing mostly from ancient Rome for like the politicals, but definitely not technology level. So yeah, like we'll say red brick is pretty common out here. Like it's pretty big and fancy, if not the same kind of thing you could see back in the capital.
Ignore that link. It didn't send through properly. I'm sending the proper one. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, similar.
Frontier house.
I just looked up Frontier Mansion, and that's what I got.
Yeah, it works.
That looks pretty good. That works, definitely.
That's nice.
So, you guys make your way back through town. Again, are waved in by the servants, etc. You enter kind of the courtyard area of the mansion, and you see the same officer, Lakaya, the one that Demetia hugged earlier. She is out in the courtyard in kind of the stable area with a few other officers and soldiers, and she is saddling her horses, or they are saddling their horses, it's not just her, and she's speaking to the others. She motions to the soldiers, says, you're just coming to within earshot, as she motions to two of the soldiers, says, you two go on ahead, tell Gaius and Publius to start getting the detachment ready. They offer a salute and ride off past you all.
What were the names of the two people she just said? Gaius and what?
Publius.
Publius.
Yes.
I feared that's what you said.
That's that is the Roman name. But yeah. Presumably those are two of the officers in her legion, given that they are apparently getting some group of soldiers ready to go for something.
Should we be taking notes?
You can if you like. I can just say those are 2 throwaway names. They're probably not going to actually be important, but
Okay.
I also have some campaign notes. So like, if you all want to keep some notes yourselves, you can, or I'm kind of keeping track of some things.
I'm just wondering if there's like 100 faction names and stuff that we're gonna have to remember.
No. There are like a few NPCs that have kind of their own agendas, but yeah, no, it's not like every single officer in the Legion is going to have their own like name and backstory and detailed motivation at this point. So, as the 2 soldiers ride off, she takes a notice of you, kind of. It's a respectful enough nod, but with kind of a look of these folks again. She goes ahead, hops up on her horse, turns it around towards you all, and she and the rest of her party that hasn't already left kind of slowly, trot over towards you all. And she addresses you, says, like, hello again. Looks a little bit hesitant, like she's not entirely happy with the situation, like she's not entirely sure she should be saying something, but goes ahead. So you all know, I have managed to get the general to acknowledge that there is something going on with the 14th Legion, and he has authorized me to look into things. I will begin. I'm taking a detachment of my own Legion. We're going to begin checking at some of the outposts, some of the secondary forts held by the 14th. And again, pauses, like, he told me that you all are also investigating the matter. While I can't say that he's much in the way of a military commander, he does seem to know people, and he does seem to know when folks are trustworthy. So if you run across anything that might be of note, I would appreciate if you could let me know. And perhaps if you find something, I can assist you with it later on.
Well, of course, and thank you very much.
Yes, it wouldn't be that much of a problem, I think, to let you know if something arises. I mean, after all, we're not, military folk, so I'm sure we'll need your help eventually.
Very well. The general seems to believe that being not military, you all might be able to run across an angle that someone from inside of the system might overlook, but we shall see. I just hope that this is something that is resolved quickly.
I hope so too.
She holds up her hand, kind of motions to the others to follow. Nods like, well, best of luck to you. Hopefully this matter is resolved before too long. And she and the other officers ride off out of the compound. Her legion is stationed to the south of the 14th, so she is heading back southward to her own forts, her own bases, and then going to be gathering troops up and then moving to see what's going on her end. So if you all head directly to the Castrum Liberium, the headquarters fort of the 14th Legion, you all will definitely be there before her.
Okay.
All right. So you all go on back in. The same servant who met you all the first time. Backing in so soon, I see.
Yes. Is my grandfather busy?
I don't believe so. He has just gotten out of a meeting with one of his commanders, as I believe you were aware, given that you left when she arrived and came back as soon as she left. Kind of furrows his eyebrows, wondering if there's any kind of correlation there, and shrugs his shoulders. I will please come with me. He's in his study. And the servant again leads you up to the same place that you had met with him earlier. He is. You find Eulos again, poring over some papers, looking over, kind of puzzling over a map of the province that he has laid on his desk. Glances up as you arrive. Back again. Crap! I had thought of what he was going to say, and then I forgot it while I was describing the scene. Dang it. Welcome back. I'd wondered if you all might have gotten on the road yet. I see that you have not.
We were about to go, but before we left, we thought it might be useful if we got some supplies, some healing potions, some medicines, some things along those lines, because we don't have anyone in our little group that can cast healing magic.
He nods. Oh, of course. Yeah, come with me. Stands up, goes out of the study. Just kind of amicably chatting with you all as you go along. Just terrible business about this legion. I honestly hadn't realized just how bad things were getting. But there paints a rather grim picture, I think. I don't know. She's been one to take things a little too seriously at times, but overall, I think she's a fairly dependable sort. And she tells me, she seems to believe there's a problem. So, I'm just kind of rambly chatting about, the state of things, about kind of the what's going on that end.
Ada's mostly just nodding.
Yeah. It's kind of a rambling thing without too much direction. But mentions, that, of course it's definitely a good thing to have a little bit of magical healing on hand, and recounts with a story of how he was injured when his carriage rolled in trying to cross a river at one point, and they gave him a few potions and whatnot, and it fixed him up right nice, and how that's far superior just laying in bed for a few weeks and whatnot. But there's a storeroom in the basement of the manor, and kind of guarded just by a few folks in the city guard, some of the auxiliary troops around, not like full Legion soldiers necessarily. And he goes in, picks up a sack, kind of hefts it. Supplies have been a little bit short. We haven't, we've been, the temples have been running a little bit low on potions of healing recently, but we can definitely spare a handful, and passes you over a sack with 5 potions of Cure Light Wounds in it. Says, I trust this will be of some use.
Yes.
That should be perfectly fine.
5 potions?
5.
Yep.
So is that gonna be like one for each of us to carry?
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
except for Aesthesia.
Yeah, Eostatia wouldn't be carrying one.
Well, if he was here, he would have one, so should we just pretend that one of them is...
No,
That's my summon.
Oh, I'm thinking of Alexander.
Eostatia doesn't need one because I got a spell that can heal him from any distance.
Sorry, I just assumed we would be immediately talking about Kaze's character.
The thing about this... Here's an interesting question. Do potions of healing have a best by date?
Like an expiration date?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I've always
I don't
wondered
think
that.
so. I think that's what makes them magic.
By the rules, I don't believe the magic ever runs out.
Okay.
I mean, you can find potions in a dungeon that's been sealed off for the last 1,000 years, and they still work just fine.
Okay.
That would be interesting. Give the players a whole pile of potions, and some of them have gone off a little bit. They work, but
Not as well.
your skin might turn neon green for a little while around the wound that it healed, or might make you violently sick as well as taking its effect or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm not going to be that mean.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, you guys have some potions, and like I said, if you want to just have one person carrying the entire sack worth, or if you want to go ahead and split them up among the party,
I think we
however
should
you all
go
want to
ahead
handle
and
that.
go ahead and just everybody take one.
Yeah.
Also mentioning like Eostitia, if I recall correctly, Eidolons actually aren't affected by normal healing magic.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
It's
that's
not? Okay.
No,
Okay.
that was a fallacy that I believed for the first 3 summoners I made.
I think the reason why that is something that people think is probably because the Eidolon healing spells are like twice as effective as normal ones. That might be why people
But
think.
Yeah, they only work on the Eidolon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, the proper name for this potion is Potion of Cure Light Wounds.
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll heal 1d8 plus 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so the way potions work, any spell of 3rd level or lower can be cast into a potion if the caster has the Brew Potion feat. And basically the effect is exactly as if whoever made the potion cast the spell on you when you drink it. Or if it's, for example, if it's a spell that applies on a weapon, it's not a potion, it's an oil, and you just apply it to the weapon, but the rules are exactly the same. The price of a potion depends both on the spell's level and the caster level of the person who made it. Since a lot of times a spell that is cast by someone of a higher caster level is just more effective. The base price for like a default potion of Cure Light Wounds is for a 1st level caster making the spell, which is thus the 1d8 plus 1. If you got one that was a Cure Light Wounds made by a 3rd level caster, it'd be 1d8 plus 3, but it'd also be a little bit more expensive. But yeah, these are 1d8 plus 1 healing each.
Okay.
Alright, is there anything else you all want to do around town before we go? Now, Kaius, you said you were going to look into some of your contacts and see if you could get someone to run the shop for a few days while you were gone.
Right. That is something I do have to take care of. That's correct.
Okay. So,
But I'm sure that wouldn't take very long.
yeah. I assume that you have some folks who, like, at least work on and off with you, and you're able to get in touch with them fairly easily and make sure there's at least going to be someone to make sure no one comes in and carries everything off. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yes,
we don't have to.
I will make sure that before I go that I take some of my later tools with me in case I need to use them. Anything like, and I just need you to generally tell me how much that might weigh. We'll just call it a crafter's kit, I suppose. Well, how much do you think that would weigh to carry?
All right, say what kind of kit again?
It's not. No, I'm saying that I want to carry some of the lighter tools that I have in case I ever need to use them for anything.
Okay, like your crafting tools.
Right. Yes. But they're an official thing in the store or whatever. So I just need a general say how much would they weigh.
You can ignore this.
Okay. Probably for just something to work with, just make little small trinkets out of different materials. Probably no more than 5 pounds or so.
Okay, I'll put that down. Thank you.
Sure. At least for a basic set of tools.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So, with the shop in order, some healing potions so you all don't immediately get killed the first time you take injuries.
Right.
And everything in order.
Oh,
you
Tyler,
guys are able to...
Yes.
you didn't happen to watch our combat practice session, did you?
I did not.
So you're completely lost on the mechanics?
I'll figure it out. As long as I don't roll highest on initiative, I should be okay.
I think you'll be fine. The rules are almost identical to 5th editions.
Yeah, I should be fine.
Yeah. The big there are differences, but they're mostly in the fiddly parts. You know, the general sense of it is pretty similar. So.
Okay.
Also, before I forget, go ahead.
There was a question that I don't think I ever got to ask last time because it never came up. Can you break apart your movement?
By default, no. You can take your movement before your standard action. You can take your movement after your standard action, but it all has to be done at the same chunk of time.
Okay.
There are feats where you can get around that.
I think Kaze's here.
Yes. Hi, Kaze.
Hello.
Hey, you didn't really miss much. We recapped what happened last time and got a potion for each character.
Yeah, so you've got a potion of Cure Light Wounds now.
Okay. I will add that to my thing then. What's our the character sheet site we're using again?
Mythweavers.
Thank you.
Also, like I was just starting to say, before I forget, I meant to do this last session, but just slipped my mind. It was getting late, and people were starting to go ahead and head out. I'm not going to do only XP from combat, partially because it's going to take a lot of combats to get a first level character up to level 2, and I'd like for you guys to be able to see like a few different levels of play. So go ahead and add 300 XP for each of you for getting to where you are thus far. That's for, you know, kind of being able to like use some contacts and starting to figure out some of what's going on.
Okay.
If anything,
300?
300.
Yeah.
If anything, you can count it as XP for avoiding the potential combat encounter of breaking into the prison to talk to the old lady.
Is that the first EXP we've gotten since we
Yes.
started? Okay.
So we're at 300 out of 1300, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's just general story XP for the first session. All right, and if I recall, the plan was once preparations were made for you all to head to Castrum Liberium, which is the primary fort of the 14th Legion and where the commander of said legion is supposed to be located. Is that correct?
Yes. At least as far as I know.
Alrighty, so you all get on the road. Do you wait, like, it's middle of the day at least now. Do you wait until morning to set off, or do you just go ahead and make what progress you can today?
Probably best to set out in the morning, I would say.
I
Don't know
defer
how.
to the people that can't see in the dark. Which actually, I can't see in the dark either. So.
You're a half-orc. You get dark vision.
No, I swapped it out. Because she's half orc, half elf, she actually only has low light vision.
Gotcha.
I only have low light vision as well.
So am I the only one with dark vision?
I have dark vision.
Okay,
And low
so
light vision.
So do I. So we both 4 people with low light vision and 1 person without any.
Wait, you can have both?
Humans.
Yes, you can have both. I have
Yeah, you
both.
can have both.
What's the point? Isn't dark vision just an upgrade?
Low light
No.
vision sees in color.
Yeah, dark vision is
Yeah.
black and white.
Oh, okay.
And also
Low light
the range. Also the ranges can be different. Like my range for dark vision is shorter than my range for low light vision.
Right. So low light, dark vision is like to a certain distance. It's usually 60 feet. Some creatures have 120 feet. And then past that, it just cuts off. Low light vision basically doubles your normal sight range, which is generally 60 feet. It generally like doubles from 30 feet in low light to 60 feet. But you can see, especially if you only have 60-foot dark vision, you can see some further in dim light conditions if you have low light versus just dark vision. Alright, so if there is nothing else you all want to do, you pass a reasonably uneventful night in the town of Kaisium. Don't have another round of nightmares, at least not yet. This time around, your sleep is more or less undisturbed this time. Excuse me. And bright and early in the morning, you all meet at a prearranged point, quite likely Caius' shop, given that that's, again, kind of where you all have been operating out of so far, and get on the road to the northeast toward the fort.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me take a look.
All right,
And not that
there's
way.
like a clear road, right? We don't have to make
Yes.
any checks. All right.
Yeah. There aren't a whole lot of travelers. There's a little bit of traffic usually between the town and the Legion forts, but as of right now, there aren't many soldiers traveling back and forth. There aren't many merchants heading out toward the forts to see if they can separate the soldiers from their hard-earned pay. Most of a day's journey. Like setting out in the morning, if you all make good time, you should be there by late afternoon. You do notice, again, there's less traffic on the road than you might be used to. You don't see any patrols of soldiers. Normally there wouldn't be a huge amount, but you might see at least like a small group, making sure the roads are, if nothing else, making sure the roads are still intact, because the legions do maintain the road network around their forts. But other than the, if anything, somewhat unusual lack of activity, you don't really notice anything untoward for the first leg of your journey.
All right.
Do you all want to, you guys, this is kind of an opportunity for you all to chat, get to know each other. If you want to like RP any kind of interactions with your characters, we can do that, or we can just kind of gloss over that if you all don't have anything in particular that you all want to bring up, and then we'll carry on.
I think I've covered most of what I need to with mine for the moment. I suppose, other than some light chatter from me, I don't imagine there's going to be much else really that's going to be happening with Caius, I don't think.
Ada's going to be walking in front. Yay. And,
Yay.
She'll talk with the others as well. Just general conversation. She's interested in knowing like where people are from, but since we've talked about that out of character, we don't have to do it in character if you guys don't want to.
It can be fun sometimes.
Yeah, so...
Lise is leaving the donkey with Alexander, and he's off to the side a little bit, scouting, just to like cover what Ida can't see.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
We should build a watchtower on the wagon.
What?
Gradually, the single donkey with cart becomes this mobile fortress.
And his name of Cranky lives on.
I didn't realize this was going to be a Kingmaker game.
Side note, one time I built a character who was a dwarven dragon hunter. He had a cart-mounted ballista and a donkey to pull it. And during the fight, the donkey got freaked out and ran away and basically dumped the ballista and him out on the ground. It was a good time.
Sounds about right. So, Ada knows where Caius is from.
Yeah, we discussed that before. I think most people know where I'm from at this point.
Yeah.
I think the only ones we really don't know much is, actually, wait, where's Constant's character? Where's he positioned?
It's the
there
gun.
He is. Alexander. I keep forgetting these guns.
I
keep forgetting.
am walking rifles.
Yes, you're walking rifles. I know, you're just invisible.
He is guns.
He is guns. I think we don't know much about Alexander, though. So, yeah, where did you come from?
I don't know the name of any actual location, so it's hard.
Just make one up.
The moon?
It'll
I
be in
can't-
the world when you say it.
I'm God. Like, you can ask Tyler and PJ. I am god fucking awful at trying to roleplay using my actual voice. I have never been good at it.
Well, I mean, we're just asking. I mean,
You don't have
roll
to act. You can just narrate what your character says.
Yeah, but it's also on short notice, so my brain's like, oh.
No, I totally get you. Like, Ada is one of my first attempts at, like, actually playing a lawful character, and I'm just sitting over here going, it's like, okay, we can't run off the rails. Okay, we're not chaotic today. We have to be lawful.
Also,
Gotta
for the re-
suppress. Gotta
For the
suppress inner chaos.
For the record, while everyone's doing their thing, while Lisa's doing the scouting, he keeps glancing over at Ada, just like, because there's this glint in his eye, like, is she gonna try and stop me?
Ada keeps looking over at least two, just kind of curious look on her face.
Well, I don't think it doesn't look like Lisa's doing anything too out of character. So.
Oh
I think
well,
it's fine.
no. This is just Ada. She's never seen somebody like you. So. And
We're a
also,
ragtag group of adventurers. No one's seen anything like us.
it's true, but she grew up in an elven family, and like, you look like an elf, but also not. Also, you're tiny.
You're a black elf.
Yeah, tiny.
It's also worth noting that he does have an orcish tattoo on one of his arms, so she might pick that up.
Maybe.
She probably does.
Yeah. He's got like an orcish family tattoo on one arm.
Oh.
Can I make a knowledge check about that? Or do I just know what it is?
Just roll me a general intelligence check. It'll be fairly low DC given that your dad's an orc, but...
Why not a history check?
Either way, it's still a 9.
Yeah, it can be history if you want it to be, but... Yeah, you recognize it. You might not know, like, the exact nature, but you at least recognize the style of it.
Mm-hmm.
Have I seen one before?
What are you imagining for this tattoo? Is it like what sort of a mark is it?
It's more of like a tribal mark for that specific family.
Okay, yeah. So you would recognize. I'd say you would recognize
a tribal mark, but not what tribe.
that it's a. Yeah.
Now she's 10 times more intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
All right.
Oh, also, while we're at some point during the travel, I got an idea. At some point during the travel, Caius is actually going to go into the back of the wagon, and he's going to work on. He's going to take out some of his tools, and he's going to attempt to try and sew something up. He wants to. I want to kind of do this in secret a little bit, but I want to try and sew up a outfit that looks very similar to the one that Eostratia is wearing. Is that possible?
That would be something along the lines of like profession tailor or
okay.
Yeah, craft clothing. I will allow you to make a check for it.
All right.
Even if you're not a professional tailor, you can probably stitch something together. It might not look pretty.
Yeah. Right.
So roll me just a general wisdom check if you don't have an appropriate profession or craft.
Right.
And also roll a sleight of hand if you want to kind of keep it somewhat surreptitious.
Let's see here. How good is my sleight of hand? Gotta check that. Well, let's just roll the. What'd you say it was again?
Wisdom, unless you've got like a craft or a profession that would
wisdom.
apply more.
Yeah, it's not going to be very high.
Since that would normally.
Yeah, it's only
that
going to
would
be
normally
plus
come
1.
under a profession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, 1d20 plus 1. I also need to get those global macros. If someone could give me those, please.
Oh,
I don't know how.
I wish I could send files to everybody just in this voice channel, but I can't.
That would be convenient.
You have to put it in parentheses, right?
Not parentheses, no, brackets.
Brackets. brackets.
Yeah, square brackets, right?
Square brackets. Or curly brackets. Square brackets. Here we go. 1d20 plus 1. Do you put that outside the brackets? Or does that go inside the brackets? The plus 1?
Inside.
Inside. Okay. Sorry. It's been a long time. Oh,
Nice.
21.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
you.
Oh, Jesus.
That's something.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, so I want to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it in the time before getting to the town, but I want to make it and store it in my pack. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Except roll a sleight of hand as well.
Sleight of hand, which would be Dex. So yeah, 1d20
Yeah.
plus 3. 1d20 plus 3. We'll see if we get another 20 out of it, I guess. 1d20.
I hear a cat.
I do hear a cat.
That would be Maggie.
This is weird.
What's up?
I added a
21.
bunch. I added a bunch of basic dice to your token, but now
Yeah.
I can't edit them. Can you?
Oh, I see them. Let's see.
Can you add them to mine also?
I can edit.
I can edit too. I can edit. We're good.
It's weird. It won't let me add them. Yeah, I'll add them to Alexander's token.
I'll just roll one to make sure it works.
I've got my
Yeah.
own.
Geez, another 20?
Cool.
Okay,
Stop
whatever.
it!
Gee, the die roller
You're
likes you,
wasting your
apparently.
20s.
All right, well, I did 21 on the sleight of hand, so I think that's good.
Right. Does
Yeah,
anyone
so-
else want these?
Nope, I'm good. I got
Okay.
mine.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, Caius kind of rides in the back of the wagon doing something. You all really can't tell easily what it is. If you all want to be nosy about it, you can stick your head in and try to see. But just to a casual glance, he's just fiddling with something in his hands. You can't really see exactly what. Caius, you've made a few hours progress on it, and it's looking pretty good. Like you're not a experienced tailor, past like patching some clothing maybe or something. But you're just taking your time with it, and it's turning out pretty good so far.
Demisha
Nice.
is going to politely knock on the side of the wagon and ask Caius if he's doing something private and wants to be left alone.
For the time being, I would prefer so, yes.
Okie dokie.
Lise is getting out the rope and just eyeing Demisha if he needs to make her a kite again.
I need to get some bone at some point as well.
What is the
probably.
actual shape of the wagon? Is more than one person able to sit on it and still not like see what he's doing?
I'd say it's probably like a fairly like high-sided, just open cargo wagon. Like the sides are tall enough you can kind of work without really being seen, especially if you sit with your back toward like the open end at the back of it. But it's not like enclosed, and a couple people could sit in it if they wanted to.
Yeah, because Alexander probably would just be sitting like on another side of it, just fiddling with his musket, maintaining it.
Okay.
All right. So that's all I do then.
Anybody else want to do anything before we carry forward?
Nope.
I'm good.
All right. Go ahead. Roll me perception checks. And if Lisa's still kind of scouting ahead, give me a stealth check from him as well.
Okay, do you want the stealth or the perception first?
I got a 10.
Either way, as long as you call it.
Okay, I have a marked, so that's my stealth, which is a 26, and my perception is a 27.
Ada got
Jeez.
a 25 on her perception.
I got a 18.
Eustrazia is 9. Caius is 14.
All right. All right. Hang on just a second. Let me.
Could you stick me those macros on Eustrazia as well, PJ, please?
Done.
Thank you. Yeah, because we have to treat Eustrazia as much like a real character as everyone else, so...
I'm reminded of the Order of the Stick comic where they got ambushed by ogres, And then they complained because the horses they were riding on should have gotten spot checks as well. And they failed.
Yeah, what's Stubborn or whatever his name's stats? Cranky.
I am not rolling
He
a
needs a
check for
check.
Cranky.
What is Cranky like a donkey?
Yep.
It's a donkey we have, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Our donkey's name is Cranky, our pack mule.
That's amazing. I love
Wait,
it.
is
That's
it a
why I
mule
picked the
or a
name
donkey?
Cranky.
Is
It's
there
one
a
of the two.
difference? Is there a difference?
Yes.
Yeah, mules
Yeah.
are the result, I believe, of crossbreeding a horse and a donkey, and they are infertile.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And you
I
can
think
make
mules are a little bit larger. I think mules are actually a little bit more stubborn in general. But yeah.
yeah, you can make a
No.
mule, but a mule can't make anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
All right.
whatever Lise was able to borrow, and I say borrow loosely.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Are you all over on the map? It's like a road through a forest.
Oop, no.
No, you have to move us to there.
All right. What was the command again for that?
It's Control E and then Control F,
Okay, got it.
and then
Control Alt.
you gotta cut our tokens and move us there. Oh, you didn't copy them, did you?
Yeah, I copied him over.
Like just now?
Oh yeah, I copied him from the token home. Hang on. Let me
yeah.
copy him from the
Because I
Hibernia.
need macros. I need my macaroni and cheese.
Wow,
There,
those
that should be better.
Those are some JPEG bushes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, best thing I could find to kind of like trim on relatively short notice.
Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of that, I think right now there might be a Humble Bundle that actually has a bunch of tabletop like maps and add-ons and stuff.
Actually, Dungeon Painter Online has an upgraded Steam version now. It's on my wish list.
Yeah, it's pretty sick, actually.
All right. So, how far ahead of the rest of the party is Lise scouting?
I'm gonna move his token. He's not very far. Like, he's off to the side a little bit ahead of Ida just to, like, give her a heads up.
Safe distance
Okay.
is 60 feet.
Say again.
I said safe distance is 60 feet, but I retract that. Since most characters in Pathfinder would only have a speed of 20 feet, I'd say 40 feet is a safer distance.
Most characters have a speed of 30 feet, but Ada's is only 20 because.
But a lot of those characters are going to be wearing armor that lowers it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm putting him about here, because it's enough for him to get, like, an edge on him and check out, like, the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are heading through the part of the road that does become forested. Conveniently, more or less where your tokens are on the Hibernia map as well. And I'm going to go ahead and move Lisa's token to where he does like spot something, and the rest of the party can move up to match that, given that he's not getting but so far ahead. So you move about up to here, and then in this vicinity, you catch kind of a blur of motion. Almost like something like ducks behind some bushes, some foliage.
I like ducks.
It could very well be a duck, but you cannot confirm nor deny whether that is what it is.
All
So,
I know is I saw something with that 27 perception check.
Yep,
Yeah.
something.
you see motion, you see like it's like it's not a big thing, it's not like something like moved across your vision. It's like something is trying to hide, but flicked like a hand out just within view or something like that.
All right. If I motion, can they see me, or did I just pretty much disappear from sight with my stealth check?
Ada can almost see you.
Unless you have like solid cover or like a way that you could like break their view of you, they can't see you. So,
Okay.
yeah.
It was just for the sake of like sneaking up so that I wouldn't be noticed by the other thing.
Right.
I'm going to motion back towards Ida as like a stay with me symbol, just like cautioning that there's something ahead, but I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ada, actually.
I always
okay.
pronounce that.
It's okay. She'll respond to you either.
I know it's confusing because of the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
Kaza, do you want Alexander to be with the rest of the party? Yeah. There you go. Okay. All right. So, Lise, you have spotted some kind of motion, and just something feels a little bit off about it.
Given that it's at a decent distance, I am going to draw my short bow, and I am just loading it, but I'm not firing. I'm just keeping it like ready in case it's something hostile.
All right. The rest of you see the party rogue draw his bow and knock it, but not, immediately start firing. What do the rest of you do?
Alexander is gonna load his musket.
I'm gonna draw my crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Ada was going to pretend that everything was fine, so as not to, if they were being watched, so as not to alert whatever Lisa's aiming at. But since everybody else is getting weapons ready, she's going to go ahead and put a hand on her battle axe.
Alright, well, if everyone else pulling out their weapons, I guess. I'll pull out my stone bow then, and I'll load it.
Lisa was just doing it to be prepared in case something popped out at him. He didn't expect everyone else to follow suit.
But could be wolves.
Maybe I was
Like
just this sick last time, but what's a stone bow?
A stone bow it's a bow that shoots sling bullets. It's a crossbow that shoots sling bullets.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
it would be cool if D&D had that, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just a crossbow with, a sling cup in it. That's completely reasonable as a weapon.
Yeah.
Pathfinder has quite a few interesting, odd weapons like that.
Yeah, they do. I've looked at some of them.
Yeah, because D&D, right? The only ranged blunt weapon is the sling. There's no other options.
Which does a D4 damage.
Yeah, but a stone bow is also ranged blunt, and it does a D6. So, yeah.
I don't know why they never added blunted arrows to D&D, considering that's a completely reasonable, real thing.
Yeah.
I think cannonballs might do bludgeoning damage, but
I would hope so, because
when I first heard the name, though, I was like, stone bow? That sounds badass.
Yeah, it sounds like a bow made of stone, but no, it's one that shoots stone.
By the way, I've already made a backup character. Character sheet's all complete and everything.
Nice.
We know who to kill then.
Kill the huggy one.
If someone has to die...
Please don't kill the huggy one. The huggy one is actually useful to keeping me alive, as we learned in our battle session.
You haven't seen Ada in action
Speaking
yet.
of which, if Lise was gonna go on ahead, can we assume that she put a trick in him?
Sure. Just, let's see, the psychosomatic surge is the only one you know right now, correct?
Yes.
Alright, yeah, so you can say that you went ahead and implanted that.
Can I just note that the phrase, put a trick in him, really sounds weird. It really sounds weird.
Yeah, mesmerists have a feature called, mesmerist tricks, and basically it's like you implant a trick.
I want to tell a joke first.
Go ahead.
I want to say, well, as soon as the trick that I put in Lise goes off, I can put one in you too. Okay, now you can continue.
If that would be said,
basically it's like
Alexander be probably blushing at that a little bit, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, basically it's just like a little hypnotic thing. They, that it takes like a standard action to, install one and implant one, I think is the term that they use, and then it's just like a little triggered effect. So the psychosomatic surge that Demisha knows right now, anytime the person who has that trick takes damage, Demisha can trigger it and they get 1d8 temporary hit points.
Or 2d8 if it would KO them.
Right. Alright. So we're still not in initiative order. You guys have readied up some weapons.
Ada's also going
And-
to go ahead and move 20 feet closer to Lisa.
Okay.
Should we all roll stealth? Since we're trying to sneak up on whatever it is Lisa saw.
Ada's not sneaking. Ada's just walking down the middle of the road.
If you want to attempt to be sneaky, you can roll stealth.
Although Ada is kind of a beacon right now.
I have a +7 to stealth. Do you want me to try it?
Go for
It's
it.
your call.
I have a +4, so
14.
They might know that Ada's there, but if some of you stealth,
Ada's
then
got a -1 to stealth. So,
I'll go ahead and stealth as well. I got a 9, so
I also have
That's
a
right.
14.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe fetchlings have a thing where they can hide in plain sight.
well, it's the whole thing about like getting a greater stealth chance like in shadows.
Hmm.
I don't think there's enough shadow here to allow that. Is there like shadow between the trees or something that I can use that to my advantage, or?
if you kind of go in around the trees, then yes, it's dim
Yeah.
light, it's shadowed.
The way it works is just that when I'm in shadow and stuff, it increases the chance of people missing me with attacks.
Oh, so it's
That's how it works. It's concealment, yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Either way, I rolled a 17 plus 9, so that's a 26 on my stealth.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll just be moving in probably behind this tree down here. Eustrazia is actually going to be walking up right behind Ada.
Ada.
Ada, yes.
Lise is going to continue to move forward a little bit. He's just moving around the tree, but he's not moving into their line of sight yet. He's staying behind the trees.
Hmm.
Okay.
I don't need to be very close, so I'm not worried about moving forward too much.
He's just trying to scout out to give you guys warning.
Hmm. Well, as soon as something attacks us, we'll be ready.
Also, it's a given, but I've got my shield ready to go too.
Whoa, vision blocking layers.
All right. Yeah, I sort of set them up, but I haven't actually activated Fog of War on this yet. So I was experimenting with it at least.
If it's daytime, you don't really need Fog of War. It'll still prevent us from seeing any tokens you have on the map.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't have Fog of War active yet, so I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. But yeah. So as Lise moves forward, up on the road ahead, you see an overturned cart across the road.
There's gonna be goblins.
I point back towards our cart, and then I make a symbol as in like it was rolling, and stop it about halfway through the roll symbol to signal that overturned cart.
Hmm.
Okay, so I don't know if Richard is actually going to use these rules or not, but to pass a secret message, I believe Lise has to make a bluff check, and we have to make a sense motive check to figure out what he's trying to say.
That rule is specifically for trying to convey a message using hand gestures when there are people around and you want them to not understand it. I think that's straightforward enough that you guys just know what he meant, but anyone else watching would also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it also since I'm kind of hidden, if they can't see me making the symbol, it's less noticeable to me shouting, "Hey, overturned cart!"
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because talking is a thing we have to be careful of. All right, but is someone going to go investigate it, or?
I'll go. I'll do it. 20 feet at a time.
Unless Lise wants to.
You know, if the rest of us are hidden, you should probably just pretend that it's just you and...
Yeah, that's what Ada's trying to do.
So it's Ada, Eustacia, and the cart.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Eustacia.
I'm going to move 20 feet at a time, and somebody stop me when I see something.
I'm actually moving behind the tree, just to give me a better line of sight on the cart.
All right, here we go. 20 feet.
All right. So when Ada gets about there, up ahead of you, a small, somewhat reptilian-looking creature
Good.
clambers up over the base of the cart. Here, hang on just a second.
He's gonna be so small. He's gonna be so small in the face of this 6'2" orc woman. What's my intimidate? Pretty good. Too bad kobolds have egos.
It's 5 eco.
So you all can see the creature there?
Yep.
On the
I
cart?
can also see
It's
its
labeled
stat block.
kobold 2. It's number 2.
It is. This creature hops up. It shrieks out something out loud in its little high-pitched kobold voice. Which does anyone here?
Caius speaks Draconic.
Draconic.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do too.
So, Lise, you do.
I do.
All right, Kai's is a little bit far. I would have him roll a perception check to understand it. But Lise, you're close enough. It yelled attack.
Oh, okay.
Everybody roll initiative.
My immediate response when I hear it shout attack is battle stations.
Don't reveal your position.
Oh, okay. We're having that issue again. You need to go into the drop-down box and give us permission to roll initiative.
I just did it. Try it again.
Okay, there we go.
Initiative. Is that right for me? Initiative. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I have had the hardest time rolling a decent initiative with a +5.
I didn't do very well on that one either. What about you, Strazia?
Don't Summoner Eidolons go on the same
you're
initiative
right,
as
you're
the
right.
Summoner?
You're right.
Yeah, it depends on the GM, generally.
No, you
I usually
Hmm?
run it like that, like summoned Eidolons, animal companions. They just go on your initiative.
Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is everybody.
Eostitia, sorry. Eostitia. Yeah, everyone's.
All right.
I think everyone's in.
All right.
I actually have no clue where Alexander is because I can't see him.
Go click on somebody else until you find him. I found
Oh,
him.
I see him. He is
I
so far
didn't-
back there.
I didn't realize that would hide you guys from each other. Yeah,
Yep.
we'll
Yeah, we can.
We'll figure it
I
out.
see another kobold. I see number 3.
I mean, it's not a big deal, because as soon as we click off of one of our tokens, we can see all of our allies.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So another kobold steps out from behind the tree, winds up a sling, and fires it off at Ada.
Good luck.
And actually manages to hit, but for 0 damage. So
Yay!
the way that works, if an attack, like if penalties to your damage reduce an attack to 0 damage, you still take 1 point of non-lethal damage instead.
So, do I have 1 point of non-lethal?
Yeah.
Alright.
Let's see. The kobold on top of the cart is also going to wind up a sling and take a shot at Ada with it. And does considerably worse.
Poor kobolds.
And Domisha.
Alright, so I'm up first of the PCs, that is. I see 2 kobolds.
It's just a shame
Well-
that I don't have cleave.
Well, I know that there's 2 kobolds because I heard 2 sling attacks.
Yes.
I can't see the other one, but I'm just gonna step out here.
All right, hang on just a second. You have another one behind this tree that kind of turns around somewhat. Actually, no, he does. Yeah, you stealthed. He has not seen you.
Oh,
Get him.
in that case, I'm just gonna shoot a crossbow bolt at that one.
All right, so he is flat-footed.
11.
All right. The bolt kind of grazes him. It's not quite enough to tag even his flat-foot AC. So he spins around, somewhat shocked that someone managed to sneak up behind him.
Okay.
All right, that's all.
No, I still have a swift action, right?
Yep.
I'm going to use my, I think it's just called Hypnotic Stare.
Yes.
And I'm going to use that on this kobold here, Kobold 3.
All right. Yep. That is. It's within 30 feet maximum, so that is just within range. But yes, you can stare at him. So everyone will do more damage to Kobold 3, and he takes a penalty to his will saves now.
He's gonna be dead in a second.
Quite possibly, yes. Because it is now Ada's turn.
I'm gonna get him. There. 17
All right.
to hit and 5 damage.
Yeah. Ada, as the kobold is kind of fumbling with his sling, Ada runs forward and clonks it across the back of the head with the battle axe, and the kobold sprawls out into the road and stops moving.
I would like to... Oh, never mind, I can't do that. I can't demoralize, but can I make an intimidate check on the other two?
I
Or is
will
that
allow it.
standard action? Alright.
It's by default, it's a standard action, but I will allow it in this case.
Alright, I just killed one of them, so...
They are not intimidated.
Ada goes
You,
to yell something, and her voice cracks.
You got a little bit of the blood in in the mouth, so when you like start to yell, it kind of like chokes you a little bit, and instead you kind of hack and cough.
Good.
Going to be intimidating. It's like,
Which might be scary to some people.
People afraid of blood, maybe.
yeah, because you just open your mouth and blood.
Oh, there's another one. There's another one!
This one lets out a little draconic shout and charges at Demisha with its spear raised.
Kusuroda.
Alright, and managed to do 1 point of damage. And Alexander.
I just realized that the edit token window doesn't pop up in the stream. Let me adjust some things real quick.
Now, quick question. How does diagonal movement work in this?
The map tool's set up to handle it. The first square of diagonal is 5, and the second square is 10. And it alternates back and forth like that.
And
Yeah,
then
but
you...
if you just start moving, it'll count for you.
Okay.
Although I'm surprised Alexander stayed back that far when everyone else was up further.
Okay.
Okay, from there, I actually have sight. Do I have the range, though? 'Cause...
Probably.
Nope, just outside of range.
What's your range?
40 feet.
You can
Well, then-
fire farther than that, but it'll take a penalty.
Do you happen to know what the penalty is?
I think it's -2 per every range increment out.
It is. It's a -2 on your attack roll and on your damage. And a firearm resolves against touch AC in the first range increment. Past the first range increment, it resolves against normal AC.
Oh, that's kind of an ick.
Let me take a look at something. Okay, yeah, that... So firing would probably be bad from here. Though, does the one next to, Demisha have some sort of cover?
He is kind of behind the tree. I'll say partial cover for him.
Because he's within range. So, well, yeah, why not?
Partial cover would be a 20% miss chance.
Kitty.
Kitty cat.
Yeah, that's only an 8.
Yeah, so the miss chance
That
does
actually,
not... Yeah, that's a misfire.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
So, as I recall, that means your weapon gains the broken condition.
Yes, and if it misfires again, it explodes.
Yes.
Though, actually, no, it doesn't. I don't think the Masterworks do that, do they?
I actually cannot recall right off. I believe they still do. But I can look it up real quick and double check while we're processing through. Well, actually, the next turns are going to be kobolds as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's all he does, because, fire. Oh, nothing.
Yeah, fire. You go to fire the shot, and you got fizzle of powder and not much else.
Don't worry, I can help you with that.
All right. Let's see. Kobold number 4 is eager to avenge his comrade and is going to attack Ada.
No, he's not.
Yep. He stabs ineffectually at your shin.
I sort of kick in his direction.
All right.
All right. This one's going to move up. He still really hasn't seen the kind of stealth party members, although he definitely knows that Alexander is there. Even though the musket didn't go off, it makes enough of a noise that it can draw some attention. So he's going to... he sees that his friend is dealing with Demisha, and he's going to ready a slingshot in this area. So he's kind of just winding up his sling, ready to loose off a rocket somebody. And
Okay, question.
yes.
Well, once I move, I can ask that question. I'm just making sure I have the movement range for it. Okay, if I'm right here, will the kobold be able to see me with my stealth, or can I get a sneak attack with my ranged weapon? Because I'm within 30 feet.
Roll another stealth check, and you can try it.
Okay, stealth check. 19.
And he did only move half his speed, so he shouldn't take the penalty for moving full speed.
Okay, the kobold does see you as you're approaching.
Wow, that natural 20.
Yeah.
What were the odds of that, really?
5%.
More or less.
Well, I can't shoot into kobold, just unnumbered kobold, because I have a chance to hit Demisha, but I can shoot past her for kobold 5.
Yes.
So I'm going to just go ahead and, with my loaded short bow, I'm going to take a shot at kobold 5. And that's a 20, but it's not a critical 20. It's 4 damage.
All right.
Oh, so
The
close.
bow strikes him in the chest, and he staggers back and seems to be reconsidering the life choices that brought him to this juncture.
And I'm just glaring because, like, as a drow, have I seen kobolds before? Like, since they're subterranean creatures. Do I know anything about them?
Kobolds aren't necessarily subterranean. They are more common to this area of the Empire than the more southerly areas where the elves and the drow come from.
Okay.
But you would have at least heard of them, and they're pretty common as like a nuisance type. There used to be a lot more of them in the area before the Legion cleared most of them out. And
I was hoping I could get like a natural intimidate on them for being drow.
Not necessarily, no. They probably don't know what you are.
Okay, they just know I hurt them.
pretty much.
So, side thing, I can't see the stat block for Kobold 5, but I can for the others, so whatever the settings for Kobold 5 are, use that on everything else in the feature.
Yeah, actually.
But yeah, that was my turn.
Okay. Yeah, so I reconfigured the stat block so it was GM only, and I forgot to change some of these.
Good.
So let me go ahead and fix that while we're working on it. Caius and Eustacia, y'all are up next.
Yes, Caius. I need to know, Alexander. How much does your gun weigh?
I think 9 pounds.
9 pounds.
Good check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's that much, then I won't be able to jury rig it. But I was hoping I would be able to, but I can't jury rig it. I wouldn't be able to jury rig it until level 5. That's a bother. I guess instead, then I'll go ahead and be targeting towards Kobold 5, and I'll be taking a shot with my stone bow.
Okay.
The range is 50, so I'm perfectly within shooting range.
Yep.
Let's go. Although that only ends with an 8 on the attack roll.
All right. So the shot goes wide. It kind of just skips off the tree next to the kobold instead of actually hitting him.
Well, I can recover the shot at least. That's fine. I will take. I'll take time to reload it then.
Okay.
And
I'm assuming this counts like a light crossbow. It's a move action to reload.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm gonna hold my position where I'm at.
Right.
As for Eustacia, I'm gonna move him up to this position. He's going to take a strike with his Lucerne on Kobold 4. It does have a range of 10 feet.
Yep.
Yes.
So 13 versus the Kobold.
All right. The kobold sees Eustacia approach, sees him winding up with the hammer, and is able to just duck down and skitter out of the way of the hammer.
Eustacia is unfazed. Eustacia ends his turn.
Okay.
Eustacia likes talking like that.
Every time you almost say Eustacia, I'm imagining, like, Eustacia wearing a really baggy hoodie.
Alright. Yep. So Kobold 1 is up.
And real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Masterworking makes a weapon essentially count as magical, right?
Not exactly. No, they are different. There are different things.
Okay.
So if it specifies that like magical weapons don't gain the broken condition, it still would apply for masterwork ones.
It wouldn't apply?
No, if it says specifically magic weapons are exempt, masterwork items are not.
Okay. Because if I fire it again and it misfires, it'll explode. If it's a magical firearm, it won't be destroyed, but a non-magical firearm will be completely destroyed.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
I believe gunslingers have a deed, quick clear, that
you
lets
should
them.
be able to fix it.
Yeah, lets them basically quickly remove the broken condition.
You should be able to spend a point of grit and do that.
Alright. So Kobold 1 is going to move forward, also wind up a sling, and he's going to take a shot at Eustacia, which manages to completely miss again. The dice roller clearly does not like the kobolds as well as it likes the rest of you all.
I don't know. 3 out of 6 of us have missed so far.
Not true. It seems like you guys are either rolling really, really well or really poorly, and they've just been rolling mostly poorly. Alright. Number 2 is going to leap down off of the cart with spear in hand, does like this awesome like overhand leaping stab toward Ada, which manages to do absolutely nothing as he plunges the tip of his spear into the between the cobblestones and the road in front of him, and has to take a fraction of a second to jerk it free again. And Demisha, you're up.
Okay, so you only take opportunity attacks if you move out of an opponent's threatened area, right?
Or if you cast.
If you move out of any square that they threaten.
What if I move into another square that they threaten?
That's fine.
Yeah, if you move from a threatened square to another threatened square, you do provoke an AOO.
Oh.
That's one thing that's different in 5th edition and in Pathfinder.
Right.
Okay, then in that case, I have no choice. I am going to intentionally provoke an opportunity attack in order to move away.
Take a 5-foot step. Yeah, take a 5-foot step.
I can't reload my crossbow as part of my move action if I do that.
Well, 5-foot step counts as a free action.
I thought it was a move.
You can't. It doesn't take up your move action, but you can't do a 5-foot step and also use your move action to move your speed. You can use it for something else, like reloading your crossbow.
So I can 5-foot step as a free, reload as a move, and then attack as an action?
Yes.
Huh, okay. Then I do that.
Yeah, that doesn't provoke one, so
that works.
Okay, so
alright, do you want to shift before you attack, do you want to shift your stare to the kobold that you're shooting at specifically, so you get the bonus damage, or do you want to leave it on, I believe it was on number 4?
I still get a swift. And no, it was originally on 3, but it's dead now. I'm gonna shift my stare to Kobold 5, because if I hit, I can't imagine not just, killing it.
Okay.
It has like 1 health left.
Whoa. Wait, which one has 1 health left?
5.
Kobold 5 is the one that's been injured.
Oh, never mind. I'm gonna shift my stare to Kobold 0 over here.
Got it.
And shoot Kobold 5 instead.
Okay.
22. Actually, that's a crit.
That is a critical threat, so not that it actually matters, but just for form's sake, go ahead, roll the attack again.
15.
Alright, so 15 does match his armor class, so that does confirm the critical hit. So you roll the damage twice, which you've already rolled it 2 times, so that is 11 damage, and Kobold 5 is very, very dead.
Negative health equal to double his max. It's crazy.
Whoop.
His negative health is actually... It's actually only negative 10, which is actually equal to his con, so it still would instantly kill him. But again, for just low level enemies like this, as soon as they're 0 or negative, I just count them as dead, because it's not usually worth tracking, dying for these types of creatures.
That's the kind of damage that would eviscerate the fucker. Jeez.
Yeah, you shot him in the heart.
I like
At least he's jealous.
I like to imagine that.
So I was gonna fluff it that Demisha shot him right between the eyes, but that reference is too good. You shot him in the heart.
I was going to say, I like to imagine that I actually shot him in the mouth and it went out the back of his head.
Oh, Jesus.
That works too.
That, for being a lot huggy, fucking scary.
Don't forget she's also a ferocious fox, secretly. Actually, forget I said that. She's a normal human, just like you guys. She walks on 2 legs and doesn't have a tail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the rest of the party doesn't know that she is the Kitsune, right?
I don't know, do they?
At least he hasn't bothered to pry.
Yeah, I don't think you've done anything obviously to indicate obviously that you're not just normal human yet. I don't think.
besides liking hugs, he finds that a little bit strange.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna go for Kobold 2 here.
Okay.
And I want to roll Battle Axe, not Initiative. There.
Alright, 19 hits, and as Kobold 2 is wrenching his spear back out of the cobblestones and staggering a little bit and going to stabilize himself and take another attack at Ada, he immediately takes a battle axe to the side of the torso and is also dead.
And I'm also going to go... Yeah, I think I can do this. I'm going to go ahead and 5-foot step right there so that Eustacio will get a flanking bonus on Kobold 4.
Alright, that's fine. You are stepping over a corpse, but Kobold Corpse is small enough, I'll say that doesn't count as difficult terrain with there just being one of them.
Alright.
Alrighty. Let's see. This kobold is... Let's see, this one there. He was attacking Demisha, and Demisha has started to run away. So I think he's going to simply pursue for the moment. And take a stab with his spear, and manage to do, again, a single point of damage.
They're not very strong.
No, they're not. Kobolds are individually very, very weak, but especially if they're in their own home warrens where they tend to fortify, they can be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, they don't even seem to have pack tactics, do they?
They were expecting a much more compact group coming up. They weren't expecting all of you all sneaking through the forest.
I suppose so, yeah.
They weren't expecting a rogue.
No.
Still, it probably would have been a lot smarter on their part if they'd all just ganged up on one person anyway.
Yeah.
Then moved on to the next.
Oh, given that the one they probably would have been ganging up on was Ada, I don't think it would have helped them that much.
Probably not.
Well, they're stupid kobolds, so it's fine.
Yeah, the plan was to just jump and gang up on one person, and then there were other people sneaking through the woods, so the plan has started to fall apart a little bit. Alright, Alexander, you're up.
Alright, quick question. Quick Clear has two options. I can either just use it as long as I have grit as a standard action, or spend a grit to make it a move action.
Mm-hmm.
If I do spend a grit and make it a move action, would I then have to reload the musket?
Yes, you would have to reload it still.
Okay, I think in that case then, I'm just going to move up to here, and then quick clear the musket as a standard.
Okay. Because you don't have any kind of rapid reload, correct?
Not yet.
So yeah, you're loading your musket as a full round action, if I recall correctly.
Unless I use alchemical cartridges.
Right, which would make it a
once.
standard.
Yeah. So that's all I'm gonna do for now.
Alrighty. Let's see, which kobold is this? This is one of the ones that is fighting Ada. Let's see. Hang on here just a second. So kobold number 4 looks at Ada standing over the corpse of a couple of his most recent friends. Looks at Eustacia, charging in toward him from behind, and he scampers. So he's going to move up this way and begin fleeing.
So does he withdraw, or do we get attacks of opportunity?
He's going to take the withdraw action.
Alright.
So, for those of you who aren't familiar, you can choose to take the withdraw action. It is a full round action, but it lets you move up to twice your speed, and you don't provoke attacks of opportunity from the square where you start. So, actually, since he started here and then moves to there, he would take one when he leaves that square. So yeah, Ada, go for it.
Should Eustacia also get one because he's got a reach weapon?
Yeah, I do have a reach weapon.
Yes, he would. So
Okay.
you both get attacks of opportunity.
All right.
I killed him. No, wait, I didn't. I missed.
Okay, let me roll mine. 23, 10 damage.
You killed
Yeah,
him.
that one killed him.
Okay.
Wait, hold on, I'm a bit confused. Why
Go
did
ahead.
you Why did you originally say it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks if it just did?
So the withdraw action specifies that you don't provoke AOs when you're leaving the square that you start your movement in. So normally speaking, let's see. This kobold started here. Normally speaking, if you just took a normal move action to go there, he would have provoked an attack of opportunity. Since he withdrew, he was able to get to that square where he's in now without provoking. However, then
Okay.
he attempted to continue moving.
So you're only immune to opportunity attacks for the first square of your withdrawal movement.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And Ada's battle axe swing goes wide, and then Eastizia just drops the hammer on his head.
Fat honk.
Clong. Oh no. Okay.
All right, Lise, you're up.
I'm considering my option. It is close enough to take care of Kobold 1. So, if I move behind Kobold 0, will I provoke an AOO since I'm moving into his area, or no?
Not when you move in. So like if you go like here, 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 you'll be fine.
Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here, and while I'm moving, when I get to where I'm going, I'm going to drop my bow as a free action behind me so I don't get it stepped on, and draw my rapier to take a stab at him, because flanking.
You can actually
Okay.
flank from right here.
You can?
I can, but
Yeah, so it's flanking works where if you can draw a line between the two characters that are on either side of the token, and it crosses the token you're trying to flank at any point, it's considered flanking.
Yeah. I think strictly speaking, that might not be a flanking position by like, if you go like really into the specific rules for flanking, I usually will count that. But Lise can, if he goes 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 30, he can make it to this square as well without provoking. He's just got to like give the kobold a bit of a wide berth until he gets there.
because I was able to make it here regardless.
Yeah.
Because we know I'll flank here.
All right, go ahead. So flanking grants you a +2 on your attack roll, and it also triggers things like the rogue sneak attack.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll my just generic attack. That's a crit threat, so I'm going to roll that again. 9, 11, so I don't confirm the critical, but I get
Nope.
to roll my sneak attack, which is 1d6.
Correct.
And it's no strength, if I remember correctly. Or does it get a strength
Right.
modifier?
It's just flat 1d6 damage.
You also add 1 damage since I'm staring at it.
Well, 10 damage then.
Yeah.
I just skewered it.
Yeah, so Demisha sees the kobold running forward toward her, takes another swing at her with the spear, gives her another fairly minor scratch, and then Lee sneaks around behind it, and all of a sudden just the tip of his rapier just like stabs through the front of its chest, and the kobold collapses.
That just gave me a great idea what you just said there. 'Cause I've been thinking of food puns. I want to make KOBOLDS now. That's a great idea.
Oh lord.
KOBOLDS.
Lisa's just looking at her and just says, "You're welcome."
KOBOLDS. It's a great idea.
All right. Caius and Eustacia.
Okay,
Yeah,
Caius, you can either delay your turn or skip it if you want,
Yeah, there's no need for me to really
because
worry about
Demisha's
this.
going to do something about that last kobold.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just pass then.
Do you want Eustacia to do anything?
No.
Okay.
If Domisha's going to take care of it, Eustacia won't do anything.
So both of you delay.
Yes, we're going to delay.
All right. Well, the kobold kind of stops. He moves forward, takes a moment, sees this kobold here get run through by Elise, and immediately turns and books it as fast as he can. I'm going to say one move in action, like intending to move forward, and then his second move in action, just booking it.
Sounds fair.
He's smart.
So is it my turn?
Yep, Demisha.
Okay, so here's what Demisha's gonna do. As part of her move, she's gonna reload her crossbow. She's gonna move to here. What?
So the thing like where you could do something as part of your move, that was drawing a weapon. You can't reload as you're moving.
Oh,
it would have to be 2 separate move actions.
Oh, never mind.
I think you could still shoot from there, though.
From here? No, yeah, I suppose I could. I can't see him. Wasn't expecting that.
What's all that clicking?
Someone's clicking.
I'm just clicking stuff. Sorry, I'll stop.
Yeah, you can kind of see him past the tree. I'll say again, partial cover for him if you want to take the shot from there.
It doesn't matter. I wasn't going to shoot. I was just going to reload my weapon, point it at him, and would I know whether or not kobolds know common?
You could make a knowledge check. I would allow either knowledge local or knowledge nature. You haven't heard any of them speak common yet.
Okay, I think I'm trained in knowledge local.
Okay.
Okay. 19.
In general, they don't. Sometimes kobold leaders learn it, but usually they only speak Draconic. They consider other creatures lesser than themselves, which is kind of ironic given that they're kind of small and tiny.
You said they speak Drow?
Draconic.
Oh, Draconic. I don't know Draconic. Do they at least understand the meaning of hey?
You might be able to get the point across at least.
Okay, well she's gonna shout hey and try and get it to stop.
Alright, do you also reload the crossbow?
At the same time, yes.
Okay.
Do you shift your stare?
Sure, why not?
And you can actually, so at this point you've used, it's not an action just to call out to it. It's a move action to reload. You still have your standard. So you could still move, or you could ready an action to shoot at him if he continues running.
Sure, why not? I'll ready an action to shoot if he doesn't stop.
Okay. Alright, you'll see the kobold's reaction when it gets to his turn. Ada.
Do I have time to ask the others if we want to take a hostage or not?
You can ask them. They'll respond on their turn.
I mean, if anyone knows...
I'm gonna assume we do. And can I charge?
Yes.
Like if I move here, charge. Alright. And
Yeah.
I'm going to use my my Mock Gladiator trait. So this next attack deals non-lethal damage, and I don't take a penalty to my attack roll for that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to non-lethally not kill him.
Okay. So Demisha shouts at the kobold. Ada, as before the kobold really has too much of a chance to react, runs out from around the cart, barrels down on him, and smacks him over the head with the butt end of her axe. It makes a rather sickening sounding thunk, and the kobold collapses to the ground.
She's gonna yell, "This one's not dead."
Yet.
Okay, good. That means we can tie him up and interrogate him. And we can promise him freedom if he tells us everything we want to know.
And then we
And
will
I'm
give
still
him
gonna stab
freedom. No. If you promise somebody something, you're gonna give it to him. If we don't promise it, then we don't have to keep that promise. But
I'm not letting him go.
Lise, if we make friends with the kobold, we'll have another ally and more information.
I turn to her and I speak in Draconic, just assuming she's not going to understand, and I just stare at her and say, "We are not making friends with it."
I respond back in Draconic as well, and I say that I think we'll do what the party agrees to do.
So, there was one more kobold that you all did not spot, but seeing the slaughter going on, he decided discretion was the better part of valor, and fled. So each of you get 120 XP for that encounter, and we are no longer in initiative order.
Alright, do I need to make a heal check on this guy, or is he okay?
You can make a heal check just to confirm that he's not dead.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. 9.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's you hit him a little bit hard. He's gonna have a nasty headache, but he's alive.
I'm going to recollect my bow and my arrow from Kobold 5, or at least try to.
Eustacia is going to begin rummaging through the carriage to see what's there, and Caius is going to take his time to recover his sling bullet. So,
I get back half of the bolts I used, right?
Yeah. By default, I believe it's a 50% chance for a arrow or a bolt to be recoverable. So if you shot more than one, we'll just assume that you get half of them back.
Okay, then I just lost one bolt.
Okay, I shot one, so do I just roll that D100, and if it rolls high, I get it back?
Yeah, that's fine.
I rolled a 45. I'm not getting it back. It broke inside of it.
Also, with my 9 heal check, do I know about how long this guy's gonna be unconscious?
Several hours.
Good.
You can't put a specific number on it, but he's gonna be out cold for a while.
he's going to have some major mental problems with that.
Maybe even
With
amnesia.
the way,
We can probably
yeah, maybe.
we could probably
Fortunately,
tell
D&D
him that he was
operates-
our friend all along.
Fortunately, D&D operates on movie rules of being
Yeah, I know.
unconscious, where you can get knocked out for several hours and be perfectly fine.
Yeah. I
And
always
I
love
have
that.
brain injuries.
Right.
Also, I'm looting the bodies.
Okay. They don't have much. Hang on just a second here. Okay. Each one has a small-sized spear and a sling. Each one has a small kind of leather tunic, more kind of haphazardly stitched together, but it's serving them as a armor suit, basically. And between all of them, they have a few silver and copper coins in their pockets, totaling to, let's say, that many silvers.
I'm going to sleight of hand to stealthily put those away without anyone else seeing me.
All right, roll your sleight of hand, and if anyone is interested, roll a perception.
Hannah's interested, but Ada doesn't see.
Okay, so let me
Ada's
find
busy.
everything. I had to find my modifier because I didn't make a macro for that. I rolled a 24.
All right, like I said, if anyone wants to see what Lisa's up to searching around the bodies, you can. But otherwise, you are able to pocket those 22 silver pieces. Again, silver, not gold.
Yeah, I'm also taking the slings because good leather, you can sell that.
Okay.
People always need leather for making stuff. Same with the tunics. I'm loading it up on the cranky.
All right. Eustacia searches the cart. It seems that most of it was foodstuffs that has been pretty much looted. What hasn't been looted has mostly spoiled by now, but you are able to find a basket of some various fruits and whatnot, vegetables that seem to be in good enough shape to eat.
Eustacia will hold on to it then.
Okay. You find some broken open crates. Again, most of them have either been it seems like fairly standard items. Like there's some crates of cloth that have mostly been torn apart at this point. A lot of it has either been damaged or carried off. Roll me a perception check for Eustacia, searching the thing though.
Sure. That's going to be an 18.
All right. You do find a small locked wooden box, kind of tucked away under where the driver would sit.
Okay. He'll go ahead and pick it up then. And, in whatever way you want to have him say it, to basically point out that, we need someone to open it. Because I assume he tries to open it and it doesn't work. Like it's locked?
Yeah, there is. It's like it's got a latch and like an obvious like small key lock.
Okay.
On the outside.
I wanted to ask, Eustizia doesn't eat, right?
No, he doesn't
Can
eat.
he distinguish between what's good food and what's not?
Well, I mean, he has been running a shop, and he
Okay.
does know how to he does know to serve cookies and stuff. I'm sure he's seen food.
All right. But I didn't know if that applied to like all realms of food.
I
or
mean,
if
he
just,
likes
like, looked
to-
at the card.
He likes to
was
try
like-
to eat.
Yeah, or if he just like looked at the card and was like, all of this is good.
We'll say that mistake has already been made in character. Like there was a batch of cookies that no one got to, and they went bad, and Caius threw them away, and Eustizia is like going through the trash, like, oh, food, and put them back out.
When Lucidity mentions the thing, Lise just beelines right to him because.
All right. Yes, I suppose you would have the knowledge to take care of this, and he puts it into his hand.
So that is a disable device check to attempt to open it.
Okay, Lise is currently looking at it with greed and he's got this glint in his eye.
Ada is now intrigued enough to come over here and see what's going on.
Let me make sure my disabled device is proper, and it is. So I'm going to. Can I take 20, or do you want me to just roll the check?
It's up to you. Taking 20, if you can take a 20 if you want to just sit there and fiddle with it for a while. If you want to just see if you can get it open really quick, you can roll it.
Well, I was going to say I could just sit in the back of the cart and take 20 while we're proceeding.
That works.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah, I'll just do that because we should have time.
Oh,
I don't know how long the lock's going to take.
And while this is going on, Caius is actually looking through the again, just for his own personal project. He's searching through the wood of the cart. He's gonna see if he can find any pieces that are in good enough condition that he can, kind of woodwork with in his spare time. So he's gonna take a little bit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you're able. The cart was damaged, like the lower surface, the side that's against the ground is more so. It's kind of cracked and splintered a little bit, but the boards along the top edge are in pretty good shape.
Yeah, so you see him kind of ripping a few boards off, for his own use.
We're the salvage team because Lise took literally the Jarkins off the kobolds, their spears, and their slings, and he plans on reselling them later.
Ada's going to ask Caius if he needs help and just kind of hold up her battle axe.
Yeah, sure. I only need about 2 planks though.
All right. It's not a chopping tool, but it can be used to chop things. So she's gonna see if she can cut off a couple good-sized planks.
I also ask if I can take 1 or 2 of those leather slings that Lise collected.
I hand them over immediately because I had actually gone to put them on the donkey, and since I haven't yet, I just hand them over.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Yeah, again, I have a very interesting idea for all this. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is
Alright.
able to help get a few boards free. You've got your couple slings. You have your just party in general. You have your unconscious kobold friend.
Mhm.
Friend.
I'd like to tie him up.
Actually, I was going to tie him up.
Okay, you can tie him up then, because you want to make friends with him.
Well, you can tie him up
Alright.
if you want. I think you have better sleight of hand.
Yeah, but he's
Actually, I don't have any points in it. I just have a base 5 for my dex.
I have a base 3.
Okay, then I'll sleight of hand it. I will attempt to tie him up. I mean, he's knocked out, so the worst I can do is mess up the tie.
Again, I don't even know why we even bothered taking a hostage anyway. I mean, what can he tell us?
I rolled a 12.
Well, he could
Okay.
tell us where their base of operations is and how long they've been blockading the road.
Maybe the kobolds have something to do with the abandoned forts.
It's
I
possible.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
so-
doubt that. They're too weak to pose a real threat to an organized force.
Well,
Look at us.
unless, of course, they attacked in high enough number. But if that's the case, I don't think there'd be many scouting parties out here.
Probably
Yeah.
not, but it's still something that we should bring to the legate's attention. And if we can get information as to where their central location is, I'm sure it'll be much more useful than just saying, "Oh, we were attacked by kobolds on the road."
Lise
Well,
brightens up at that mention, and he starts taking ears off the kobolds for bounties.
and just for the sake of making it easier for other travelers, Caius is also going to go ahead and push what remains of the cart off the road and
Ada will assist.
and get the bodies out of the way so that people can walk safely on the road.
All right, strength check for the cart for both Caius and Ada.
All right.
Sure, no problem at all.
What happens if they fail?
We have to try again.
Yeah, this is less a whether you pass or fail, more of a kind of how long and how much
Oh
effort.
no, Caius!
I failed.
Ada doesn't know herself.
yeah, I think Ada's got it.
Yeah, Ada
No.
got a 18 on that.
For the most part, Peach, I think this is just kind of like more the let's have a fun time together kind of bonding exercise. I think more than anything else.
Do you want Alexander to help out? Because you probably have seen that. Like what happens there is Caius just like try to push and then fall on his face
Yeah, he
immediately.
falls. Yeah.
Caius like winds up pushing down as much as forward and just like pushing the cart to the ground and is like hindering things as much as he's helping. But eventually, Alexander kind of jumps in and you all are able to eventually shift the cart off the road. The same with the kobold bodies. They take considerably much less effort.
Because honestly, they could probably overhand throw them across
Yeah,
the
they're
street.
probably like 20 pounds, 25
Ada
pounds.
could for sure.
Yeah.
She starts flinging them into the woods.
Ada does not, but
Maybe we should cook up one of the kobolds and like eat it in front of the other one.
That doesn't
I
sound very
object to
lawful.
that. I object to that.
I'm not lawful. I'm neutral.
I know, but there's a lawful person here that might not like that.
Leaf actually looks
Yeah.
disgusted at that idea, and he's chaotic.
I object to that not on the premise entirely that it's wrong, but also on the premise of like, why would you want to eat a kobold?
I've tried. They don't taste good.
Domisha says, I'm kind of on the fence about this. One, eating a kobold would make us less likely to make friends with the one that we've captured. And two, I really want to know what kobold tastes like.
Honestly,
you don't.
Honestly, I'm kind of interested myself as well.
Leaf just gives them a look.
Alexander
eating-
thinks they look kind of nasty.
Eating formerly sentient creatures is a morally gray area.
Okay, all right.
Leaf has done it, but that's when he was like struggling to survive, and he just needed something. So
Yeah. Well, I imagine they wouldn't. It would probably taste very similar to a human. I'd imagine.
it's rather gristly, actually.
Honestly, it probably tastes closer to like a giant lizard.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look like they would taste like geckos, but big.
It was gristly and hard to chew through, and it was really hard to cook, actually.
Or gators, which
Yeah, they
apparently are.
don't have a lot of fat on them, so like.
But Domisha, I assume you're gonna want to talk to our kobold friend when he wakes up, right?
Of course.
How are you gonna do that if you don't know Draconic?
Leaf just stands next to her, grinning like a madman.
I knew I should have taken comprehend languages.
So, Caius, when the kobold wakes up, would you be in charge of talking to him? Caius.
Leith could as well, but yeah, I can help out.
Alright.
What? You don't trust me? I'm gonna roll a bluff check to try and feign innocence.
Ada's gonna look at you and say, it's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I don't know. I'm more acquainted with Caius and his tact.
I rolled an 18 on my bluff for seeming offended that they
Yeah,
don't
Lise-
trust me.
Lisa's giving you these beautiful little puppy dog eyes.
I buy it.
Hurt
But
my feelings.
I do say exactly that. It's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I'm more familiar with Caius's level of tact as a shopkeeper.
I wish you would have done something like a really low roll, so you could have been like, it's not that I don't trust you, I just don't trust you. Anyway. Yeah, so I guess we should better get everything up in the wagon and get moving then.
Alright, so yeah. You all are able to load everything in the wagon, everything worth taking, pretty easily. You all load up your tied up little kobold friend. Seems tied fairly securely by Lise and Domisha. Lise can fiddle with the box for a little while, and after 15-20 minutes of just toying with the lock, it finally pops open. Lise, are you trying to do this out of sight of the others, and others, are you watching him do it?
Well, they know I have it, so I'm not even trying to hide it.
Okay.
Should we go back to the other map?
Yeah, we can.
there's no point in hiding when they know I have the box.
Right. So you're better off just showing us what it is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This is why I said that you should cut our tokens, because now my token is at full health.
Yeah, mine too.
All right, yeah. I'll fix that.
Mm-hmm.
Control X, Control V.
I will admit that when he was opening it, he was very careful, like examined to make sure there wasn't any type of trap to it when it was sprung open,
All right.
because that's just his nature.
Yeah, so you can also take a 20 perception. It does not appear trapped in any way. None that you can see, and none that trips you up when you finally do get it open. Inside is some rolled up papers. They appear to basically be like cargo lists, bills of sale, paperwork, just general paperwork type stuff. Customs papers, confirming that all of this stuff is legally theirs, and receipts for who it's supposed to go to, who has paid, who still needs to pay. And probably of more interest is a sack with 150 gold coins.
Ooh.
That's a lot of gold.
Lise grudgingly opens it up and hands everyone 30 gold pieces.
Yay, divisible by 5.
But it's obvious that he's very unhappy about this, like he wanted to keep it for himself.
Domitia
Agreed clean.
Domitia realizes that Lisa is uncomfortable giving gifts to everybody, so she wants to give him a gift back.
What does she give him?
And also, what was being given? Matt was talking to me for a
30
second. Sorry.
gold.
Oh, okay.
30 gold to everybody. I also want to take a look at those points of sale and stuff. I want to see if the merchant or shop that this was traveling for, if I recognize the name.
I hand over the paperwork because that's not my area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Ada says thank you when Lisa gives her money.
Lisa's uncomfortable.
Domitia can't find anything physical to give him, so she kisses
Except
him
a
on the
hug.
cheek instead.
Lisa's going to have to roll a bluff check to not be disturbed by this. Because
Suddenly
he is
Ada's
very
like-
gay.
Suddenly, Ada's thank you is much less disturbing.
Anyway.
I rolled a 23 bluff, but Lisa's probably able to hide his disgust.
Yes. Yeah, so the again, a large part of what they were carrying was food, and they were carrying it out toward the camp. Some of it was going toward someone that just to be like kind of a local, like general store type merchant. Someone that you have done maybe some loose dealings with at one point, but not someone that you would know super, super well. A decent bit of it was bound for the Legion's quartermaster office.
Okay. All right. I'll just keep that information. If we happen to come across another traveling merchant or someone heading in that direction, I'll let them know about the shipment being, so they can let them know. Yeah.
Well,
we'll do
it was headed in the same direction you are.
Okay, good. Then we're already heading there. All right.
Yep.
Good.
Alrighty, so you all load back up on the wagon and get back on the road. A little bit scratched up, but overall fairly good shape for having now had your first combat encounter. And you continue. You get out of the forest, and you're back in more open ground, so you could see potential ambushes coming a little bit further, which possibly makes you feel a little bit better. Excuse me. And it's getting later in the afternoon. Like the sun isn't starting to set yet, but it's getting, definitely the latter part of the day, probably like 5 or 6 in the afternoon at this point. You see the Legion camp, the Castrum Liberium, off ahead of you. You're still probably 20-30 minutes away before you get to like the villages on the outskirts of the camp. But your kobold friend is now starting to stir. It's about 5 or 6 hours after the fight.
All right.
Prior to this, he's basically just laid in the cart and drooled.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be sure to set him up at the very least.
When Domitia sees that the kobold is starting to wake up, she gets real close to his face and starts pointing to him and then to herself repeatedly and saying, "Friend."
Lisa's going to translate. And what he's going to say is, the deranged one wants to be friends with you.
So right when the kobold first comes into consciousness, the first thing that it sees is just Demisha's face right in front of his eyes, and he like starts and scampers back and like kind of struggles a little bit, like sees, realizes that he's tied up, struggles against the ropes, and attempts to basically like lean as far back he can, and kind of rapid fire, high pitched draconic, says, "Please don't kill me," which Caius and Lise are able to understand. When Lise clarifies that the deranged one wants to be friends with him, it doesn't seem to calm him down very much. He's still kind of looking around at you like, oh gosh, what's going to happen?
Basically, Caius is going to go ahead and lean down, and he's going to just say, don't mind what Lisa's saying. Basically, we just want to ask some questions. We can ensure your safety if you cooperate with us.
All right, go ahead and make a diplomacy check.
Sure.
Is there any way any of us can aid on that if we don't speak Draconic?
That didn't go well at all.
I'm going to try and help him with the diplomacy check by just like helping where he fails, like trying to puff him up some.
Sure, go ahead and roll it.
I don't think it would really do that much, but
15.
Yeah, so what was Caius's like total? What was the modifier there?
The modifier for it is 9, so 9 total.
Okay. Yeah, the rest of you, if you want to like roll a diplomacy or something along those lines, you can just try to make yourself look as like non-threatening as possible, which is a little bit difficult, but try and smile reassuringly.
17. So does everybody know how the aid another works? Is it the same in 5e?
Actually, before we go on, I want to have Eustitia do something, okay?
Okay.
Eustitia just walks up in front of everybody, like where the kobold is, and he just pulls out the basket of fruit and just drops it in front of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question for Lise, did you tie the kobold's hands in front of him or behind him?
I was actually going hands and feet tied together.
Okay. All right.
Tight.
So yeah, you all, Ada gives like a reassuring motherly-ish smile. And okay, yeah, for aid another, mechanically speaking, the way it works if you are aiding somebody else on a check, your DC, as long as you get a 10 or better on your check, the person who's actually rolling it gets a +2 bonus to their roll. So effectively, like, if we say that Lise and Ada were both aiding Caius's diplomacy check, that 9 would then go up to a 13.
Okay, then Domitia wants to help as well.
Sure.
Do I have to roll to help?
Yeah, roll a diplomacy.
Can I try too?
Yeah.
Sure.
Fine, but boost as high as you can. Oh no.
I rolled a 1, but I have a +10 to diplomacy, so that's an 11.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
you also assist.
Okay.
yeah,
So that
I
brings it up to like
0, so that worked surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
So
like
that,
I said, if
that
you
raises
gotta-
my diplomacy to what?
17, I believe.
17 if everyone managed
Okay.
to assist.
All right.
And the DM can put like limits on, how many people can aid any particular action. Like, trying to open a lock and 6 people trying to help you. That's not really going to be.
I think I'm gonna say in this case, it makes sense that we can all help.
Yeah. In this case, like,
Around one lock.
yeah.
It's like, no, do that.
At least would smack you all.
In the nose.
Yeah, so like in this case, like you are all able to at least like look somewhat reassuring and non-threatening. And the kobold like relaxes a little bit when the food is dropped in front of him, and when you mention not killing him in exchange for questions. He kind of like struggles a little bit against the rope, settles down a bit, like leans his head over to the basket of vegetables, like kind of grabs one up, eats it, grimaces a little bit, but swallows, like it's better than no food at all. And what do you want to know?
Well, what we're looking for is to know exactly what you were doing out there attacking travelers in the first place. What were you doing out there?
Big Boss told us. Said it's a good place. A good place we can get the tall people and take their things. They like shiny things, and shiny things are good to have. So we're trying to take their shinies, mostly. Sometimes they have good things to eat.
You mentioned Big Boss. Who is that?
Big Boss of the tribe. He leads us. He's real smart, smarter than me. He think of real good plan. He's the one that think of turning cart over, so other cart can't go by, and then we jump out and we stab him. And he seems really, really proud of that. He seems like proud that he was part of such a complex, intricately laid plan.
Adorable. Caius is actually going to go ahead and discuss with the rest of the party here. What do we all want to know here? Give me some leads here, guys.
Well, you could ask him about the abandoned forts.
Okay.
I was going to ask where Big Boss is, or just an idea of where his tribe is if we wanted to do dealings with them. Since he seems to believe that we can be trusted.
Well, he seems somewhat okay with us. Yeah.
Right now, he believes that the best way to not get killed is to tell you what you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know anything about the abandoned forts in the area?
Forts? Like Soldier Place's walls? That fort?
Yes.
We don't go to forts. Forts have big soldiers. They scary. Too many for even Big Boss to try to attack.
Okay. Well, at least we know it's not you then, or your tribe at least. Do you know? Are there any tribes that maybe have attacked the forts that you would know of?
There were the Snake Tails. We don't know what they did. Big Boss killed most of them and drove off the others. That's why Big Boss now runs this area.
Okay. Lise, you got anything?
Lise actually chimes in. Where could we find this Big Boss if we wanted to trade with him? And he slides like 2 silver pieces out of his pocket and rubs them together.
The kobold looks a little bit suspicious, but he also looks kind of entranced by the money. Not supposed to say, and like it looks like he's contemplating whether or not he's gonna tell you anyway. But
Lee slides 5 more silvers out and just wiggles them like.
They lives most of the tribe lives to the north in the forests in the hills. I can't say exactly where, but look that way, and you'll run into kobolds. We will find you.
Real quick.
We'd rather find you first if we want to have dealings with you.
What was that, Paige?
I was just gonna say real quick. Alexa B's just followed.
Yay! Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you. But, God. Yeah. So what's our? I go ahead. I'm speaking in common now. So what's our plan with this guy anyway? What? Are we gonna send him back? Are we gonna hold on to him? What are we doing?
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Tell him to tell his friends and his tribe or whatever that stealing from people isn't nice, and that they should just move into the human cities and live alongside them in peace.
I don't think that. I mean,
Ada is trying to keep a straight face right now.
Lisa's openly glaring at Domisha. And he just flat out says, that is a horrendously bad idea. They will die.
By the way, can I roll a sense motive, even though I don't speak Draconic, just a sense motive on if the kobold would seem to be telling the truth?
You can, but the folks who can understand him are gonna have a better shot at being
just like
able
looking for any tell, like
Yeah.
nervous tell. I got a 22.
He looks incredibly nervous, but no more so than like
You should
before he
be.
started answering.
I need to know something about Pathfinder lore versus D&D lore.
Okay.
Do the kobolds in this world? Because I know in D&D, most of the major cities have kobold townships under them that like are allowed to live there to help build sewers and whatnot. Is that the case in Pathfinder, or are kobolds really just wild races?
In general, as far as I know, that's not the case.
Okay.
And the official Pathfinder set in Galarian, I don't believe that's true.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess the question would be in this setting then. How do they stand?
In this setting, no. They
Okay.
are generally out on the fringes of civilization.
Okay. So yeah, the chance of them cooperating with society is low. Okay, got it.
21 cents motive on if he's being truthful with us.
Yeah, he's not telling any obvious lies.
Okay.
I was going to answer you back in the chat window there, but my selection window freaked out. So,
Gotcha.
Well, in return to what Demisha was saying, I do offer. I don't think we're going to be able to convince them to live with the normal townsfolk. There's a lot of anger and history with that they would probably end up dead, as Lisa had said. But as a consolation, we might be able to be friends with them. I mean, we could probably build a pretty nice relationship with this clan if you wanted. Would that be good enough for you, Demisha?
I mean, sure, why not? But, I've come to learn that it's not that difficult, not as difficult as you think for beast-like races to live alongside humans.
And what history do you have with that?
I've been around.
Sense motive.
Also sense motive.
18.
24.
Can I roll my disguise check to, hide the fact that I'm not human?
I can't remember the rules right off the top of my head. Do Kitsune have to roll a disguise check to do they get a bonus to disguise checks to
They
appear
do.
human?
They do.
They do.
Okay, yeah, then go ahead and roll disguise.
I have a base plus 8 plus an extra 10, so that's plus 18. So I got a
Yeah,
37.
You got a yes. You got
Yeah.
a yes.
So I'll say with Lise, with your sense motive, you get the sense that Demisha might be, it might be more than just I've been to a lot of places, but you can't put your finger on anything in particular.
He just stares at her and just says, I will figure out your secrets.
Well, maybe if we can teach you some Draconic at some point, maybe you can actually try to do that. I'm not willing to attempt it. So I'm just going to say to the Kobold, I'm just going to state, we are interested in meeting with your tribe, specifically your boss. If we were to perhaps, give you some more gold or silver, would you be willing to perhaps lead us there when the time comes?
He looks a little bit suspicious. When you mention gold, not just silver, but gold, eyes go wide, and I think I can do this.
He's is glaring.
We should probably
Some gold.
specify that we're willing to give him more gold after we've left his home unscathed.
Right, yes, we will be offering that to you. We don't mean any harm. The only reason we attacked you is because you attacked us. If you don't attack us, you'll be okay.
We
It's
just
fair.
want a business relationship.
Right. And honestly, if I can get a trading agreement with some kobolds in the area, that'd be awesome for my business. Honestly. But yes, I go ahead and I'm actually going to bring out, a couple, like one gold piece for now, just as incentive. So,
Okay.
is there anything else? Is there anything else anyone else wants to know? Because otherwise, I'm going to set this guy free.
Ask him if he wants to hang out with us. Like, keep your friends close and enemies closer, right?
He wants to go very clearly, so I'm just gonna turn and look at him.
Ask him.
Okay. I do ask him. I mean, we'll be willing to give you a ride up there if you'd like. We have someplace to stop on the way. Do you want to maybe hang out with us? We'll give you a ride up.
He kind of looks over, like peeks over the edge of the wagon, ducks back down quickly. Place you're going, a soldier place?
Yes, it is where we're headed. But you wouldn't have to head inside. We could keep you outside if you wanted.
Kobold shakes his head, like, no, I'm not going there. Again, like, kind of pokes his head up over the wagon, points to kind of like a low, like, hill at the edge of the forest, kind of northeast of where you are, roughly in this area on the map. Not a prominent enough hill to be related on the map, but prominent enough for you to see. It says, when you're ready, go there. Light a campfire. I will meet you. And like
right.
nods, like.
Oh, ask
like,
him his name.
Oh, his name, of course. What is your name?
I am called Azur.
Azur. Okay, got it. He doesn't happen to have blue scales, does he?
You know what? Yes, he does. Now he does.
Lise is eyeing the scales greedily. He's now regretting that he didn't pluck scales.
Oh no!
No.
Please don't spin, friend.
All right. Well, then I'll go ahead and get him out of his bindings then.
Untie it carefully because don't ruin my rope.
Of course. And as soon as I get him untied, I do hand him the 1 gold coin. Like I said, we'll give you a little bit more once we meet with your tribe. So you sure you don't need to ride up anywhere or anything?
He grabs the gold coin, kind of holds it very, very close to his chest, like, I'll be fine. I meet you there. Just you know, light a campfire when you want to go. I will lead you. And he looks at the gold coin, kind of like nibbles on his tooth a little bit, nods, thank you, and hops off the back of the wagon and scampers off.
As soon as Ada thinks he's out of earshot, she's just gonna go, I like him, and keep
I do
walking.
like him, actually.
I recollect my rope.
No, this actually might end up being a more profitable venture than I first imagined.
They might have good information when it comes to my line of business.
Yeah, both of these are possibly true.
Well, hopefully Athena will bless us with guidance as we take our first steps on the path of being heroes.
I'm not a hero. I just want some money.
What I'm worried about, though, is about the big boss of theirs. Because if I'm not mistaken, or don't kobolds sometimes, worship
Dragons.
Sometimes.
That's going to be a bit worrying if that's the case.
I feel like that one of the patrols would have noticed a dragon. However, I do know that there is hobgoblin activity, both across the river and over here.
Right.
Yeah, the hobgoblins are the native people to this area, this side of the river. They are generally, like, not particularly well integrated into the Empire, but they don't really give the Empire problems. There are bands of, like, brigands and whatnot, just like you find anywhere, where, the conditions exist for it. But, like, the hobgoblins as a whole, they fought the Empire, they lost, they don't really, openly resist Imperial rule anymore.
Okay.
So if the big boss is something more clever than, a clever kobold, it very well might be a hobgoblin.
Okay.
I'd like to roll a knowledge check for just like stuff I might have picked up in the area about their types of dealings. Would that be a local knowledge?
Yeah, I'd say knowledge local.
Okay. That would be a 15.
Okay, types of dealings like business type, like thievery opportunities?
Yeah, things that I've heard in my line of business about like activity from kobolds and other rogue races.
Nothing from like specifically like kobolds or something similar have been more active necessarily. But word on the street is that the military presence that normally keeps a pretty tight lid on this kind of thing has been very, very lax as of late. And kind of some areas where formerly there were pretty regular patrols and where reports of banditry would usually be followed up by a detachment of the Legion coming to flush out any bandits that have pretty much gone ignored.
So I'm just going to give them the heads up that we should be on the lookout for bandits because they're going to be a little bit more prevalent, and this probably won't be our last sighting.
Right.
I don't know specifics, but I can say we might run into another pack of kobolds or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the legate did go out ahead of us, so maybe they were deterred by that. Here's hoping, but yeah, keep your eyes about you.
Mm-hmm.
She's going southward. If we wind up going northward...
You're right. I forgot.
Yeah, she was heading like this, like probably took this road and then broke off like this direction. I'm a little bit limited in the size of the map that I was able to draw using the program that I was doing for this. So like the her forts are like down this way, below the map proper.
But yeah, we're on our own when it comes to bandit problems. She's busy dealing with the southern issues.
Right. Well, it seems like we can handle ourselves pretty well.
Yep, I think
So
we're
far.
okay.
She says, sporting one single bruise.
Yeah, I believe the kobolds managed to do a total of 3 damage during that fight.
And
One
one
of
of it
them
was
non-lethal.
non-lethal.
Yeah, Ada's is non-lethal. So yeah, if we ran into this, we were doing our combat practice, like something was doing some non-lethal damage. It might be helpful instead of like deducting the hit points, because like you still have 12 HP. If you want to do like 12 of 12 and then in parentheses like 1 non-lethal, that works. Which, by the way, non-lethal damage heals at a rate of 1 per hour, so
I'm
Ada's
better.
fine.
And actually, on the Mythweaver's thing in the HP category, it does have a block for non-lethal.
Right. Yeah, I'm talking on the HP block on your like properties on your token.
Yeah, I did note my non-lethal over there, so it was right on my sheet, but...
Yeah. However y'all want to handle it, it's just a matter of, preference, more or
Anyway,
less.
We're like 30 minutes away from this fort?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to the fort.
Fort time.
Woo.
Lise looks a little uncomfortable that we're going to a military fort.
Ada's going to walk beside Lise.
Lise is staying at the back, actually.
Yeah, she's going to move to the back and walk beside you when we get close.
All of this Latin, and considering we're going to the fort, like the... What is this essentially the fort of the 14th Legion, right?
Yes. Yes, this is the the 14th also garrisons the forts like immediately up and down the river from it, but this is the main one. This is where their headquarters are.
Yeah, considering it's the fort of the 14th Legion, there's a bunch of Latin and, Roman theming. My brain is like, we're playing Final Fantasy XIV, aren't we?
We're not gonna have to fight Van Belsar, just let it go.
That would be horrifying. That's all we need. Dude walks out with a gunblade the size of a child.
I can officially say I am not drawing inspiration from the Final Fantasy games in any way because I have never played any of them.
That's kind of funny. I mean, that amuses me because one of the early plot lines in Final Fantasy XIV's 1.0 was dealing with the 14th Legion, and they have a whole bunch of Roman theming because they're an empire.
That's fair.
So that's amusing. I like it.
All right.
historically, I believe the 14th Legion was one of the 3 that was absolutely annihilated at Teutoburg Forest, if I recall correctly. But yeah.
And I do have a slightly more in-depth question, I suppose. Considering I now have experience showing that a musket is absolutely terrible without rapid reload, I probably would have figured that out if I hadn't been sick and had been here for that the combat practice.
Mm-hmm.
Could I possibly swap that to a pistol?
I will allow it. I will allow it.
Yeah, because musket kind of abysmal right now.
You can always switch it out later, can't you?
Yeah, you can always purchase a musket later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, given that, new players and we're only 1 combat session in, like, if you guys have, like, major issues with your character, and, having to take a full round or a standard to reload is pretty major.
Also, I'm not in a hurry. I just want to get an idea of around how late we're going tonight. Just wanted to know. Anyone have any idea?
No later than 11:30 is preferable.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you. I honestly prefer the games being around that length. I really enjoy that. Thank you. Okay, let's go.
All right. Yeah, I'll move along, try to get us to a good stopping point about the next half hour then. All right, so you guys arrive at Castrum Liberium. As I have said, this is the primary fort. This is the largest fort that is held by the 14th Legion. It is also one of the most important forts on the border because it's the one right at the mouth of the major bridge across the Xanten River, dividing the end of the Empire proper with the Dwarven tribes across on the other side. It's a permanent camp. This is not a temporary camp. The structure has been here for a while now, since the border's more or less settled, and there's a bit of a town that has sprung up, just tending to the needs of the soldiers and whatnot. There are people who come to sell the soldiers things, and then they need food and amenities and whatnot. So a little bit of a town has sprung up. Now, as you approach, you see that there is a bit of a commotion going on. And there is a rather large gathering in one of the town squares outside of the fort proper.
All right.
Y'all go investigate?
I see no reason why we wouldn't, unless someone else has a reason not to.
No, let's go see what's going on.
Okay.
All right. All right, as you approach, you find a large crowd gathered. Mostly just villagers, whatnot. They all appear to be watching something taking place in the center square. As you start getting to the roads and streets that lead to kind of the center square, the small like market square forum type area, the crowds start getting a little bit, more crowded. But you all, with some effort, are able to kind of push your way forward to a point where you can see well enough. Maybe find something that you can stand on to kind of see over some of the crowd, or get close enough that you can see.
Ada has no problem pushing.
No, because you're
Aren't you like 6'5" or something?
I'm 6'2", but I also
6'2".
have a 17 strength, so
Yeah.
people tend to move.
If you want to get close to the front, just stand like right behind Ada and just keep going in the wake of the crowd that she's leading.
She's got to make room for her donkey, is all.
You guys get close enough that you can see, and you see a large formation of soldiers formed up in the marketplace, and kind of like a box shape, like 3 sides around. A 3-sided box type formation. In the center, there's a raised platform with 3 soldiers, not wearing any armor. They're only in their tunics. Their hands are bound behind them, and a small number of guards and officers up on the stage. Like there's a man with a centurion's crest on his helmet. At the far end, on the open end of the square formed by the soldiers, you see another small platform where several of the Legion's senior officers are sitting. You can kind of strain to hear a little bit, and you hear one of the soldiers up on the center platform reading off a list of charges, including dereliction of duty, falling asleep at the post, insubordination. Those are kind of the big ones, but it goes on a little while with a few more minor issues. And he reads off the punishment to be carried out immediately. 30 strikes of the lash to each man by order of... hang on, let me check I need to check my notes for a name real fast. Hang on. By order of Aulus Herminius Minuso, legate of the 14th Legion. And the soldier rolls up his scroll that he was reading from, steps back, and the centurion takes a long wooden rod and begins striking one of the soldiers, administering the lashes, basically. This goes on for a few minutes until the proper number have all been set out. I'm assuming none of you attempt to intervene in any way. And once...
Well, unless Domitia wants to. But continue.
No.
No,
yeah. And then once the punishment has been dealt out, the same soldier steps forward, addressed more to the assembled soldiers rather than the crowd. Shouts out very loudly. This is the penalty for people who are derelict in their duties. Any further instances will be punished more severely. The legate expects every man to do as he is ordered, whatever he is ordered to do, without question, and orders the soldiers to be dismissed. And the crowd of civilians that were just kind of around watching this began kind of talking and milling about and starting to disperse. The soldiers also, their officers begin, marching them back in toward the camp.
Lisa's going to take this opportunity to try and gather information about how often this happens.
Yeah, we gotta just find out about that. We should also probably find out exactly. We should probably try and talk to the actual receiving end of that, like the people who receive the lashes, if we can.
I just want more information about how often these demonstrations happen.
So you're just asking some of the townsfolk around, or just listening in?
I'm listening in for information I can glean without drawing too much attention.
All right. So it's you're able to kind of roll me a perception check. Check.
Okay. That would be a 20, not a natural 20 though.
Okay. Nat 20 technically doesn't apply on skill checks. Nor does natural 1. You don't automatically fail even if you get a nat 1 if your bonus is high enough. But you listen in for a little while, and after a few minutes, you hear just a couple of, again, just townsfolk speaking to each other, and it's make some comment about, third time this month this has happened, and Legion never used to do this before. They'd always, never been one for these kinds of big spectacles like that. And first one again, that Legion commander, he's gone touched in the head, I tell you. They fade on back in the crowd.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and relay that information because that's actually pertinent to our cause.
Right.
Yep.
So something about the new Legion commander, huh?
Alice has been in command of this Legion for a while. But he had third time this month, that roughly corresponds with when things started going strange and seemingly centered around him and his Legion.
Right.
If anyone wants to kind of take a look at the soldiers, get a sense about them, go ahead and roll me a perception check as well.
21.
11.
Okay.
I'm not gonna bother rolling that one. Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, that was a 1. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Alex. Roll for Alexander too.
18. Not any better.
All right. So Ada and Alexander, as the soldiers are being marched off, you notice they look rather tired and haggard. Like, it seems like a lot of these soldiers haven't slept for, a while at this point. Their armor looks a little bit shabby and somewhat in disrepair. Their formations are kind of loose. Overall, it doesn't seem like this is a highly spirited, highly disciplined fighting force at the moment.
Okay, so some sort of unrest.
How does the Centurion look? Is he about the same, or...?
The Centurion is mostly, like, he's got his armor very clean and trim and proper. You notice he also looks like he's had a rough few days,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would any of your characters be familiar with, soldiers? Would any of you have had experience, like, being around, camps like this before?
I would not.
No.
Okay.
Alexander would have not a lot, but have been near them.
Okay.
Least has some, but it's because of him being a slave and like being corralled by soldiers and stuff, so that's all he knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Least doesn't really know enough to, tell this is unusual, other than the fact that he heard people talking about how, this doesn't usually happen. Alexander, then, if you've spent time around soldier camps, you cannot think of another time where, internal punishments for soldiers was handled publicly like this, other than, you've heard that, like, a general that was accused of treason, would be publicly executed, but that's, more of the imperial government doing that rather than just a legion commander disciplining his soldiers.
Yeah.
Right, like, so something is definitely wrong.
Which,
here.
yeah, he'll convey that information to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Because he finds it odd.
Yeah. But I think even the people are finding it a bit odd, too, from the way they're speaking. So it's not just you.
Perhaps we should ask them if they've seen any patrols going out recently.
Patrols? Maybe. Honestly, we should probably speak to the some men from the military directly, if we can. We are supposed to meet with someone, right? Like the leader of the Legion here, right? We should probably get to him as soon as possible.
Yeah, your ultimate goal coming here was to kind of see if you could talk with him, because, again, he seems to be kind of the epicenter of some of the things going weird.
Right. So I think that probably should be our first mission here, unless someone else has a different idea of what we should do first.
He who knows the people will better have an idea of what's happening in the town.
I'll also say it's about, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, maybe, pushing like a little after 6 now. And unless you all have like just kind of been eating out of like packs as you've been going along, you haven't like stopped to cook a meal.
Yeah, okay, there is that too.
The best place to learn about people is generally a tavern, right?
Always taverns, right.
We should find lodgings for the night.
Fair enough. So where's the closest tavern we can get to then?
Well,
Ada's going to ask directions.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, Lise was gonna ask too.
Well, any good town would have a tavern by the main entrance.
Yeah. You definitely passed a tavern-looking structure. At least you would assume so by the large sign with a tankard out front on the way in. It was mostly empty, but you can go back to that one, or you can ask around if you want.
Yeah, Lisa's gonna ask about one that serves good food and has reasonably priced rooms, because he cares about the food.
Okay. So, Lisa's able to just kind of stop some folks. Says, points it out. Like asking you, do you know a decent tavern? They look a little bit unsettled, like they, like surprised. They're human townsfolk here. They do look a little bit unsettled by Lisa's appearance, but after a moment, they kind of like gather themselves. There's the broken arrows out by the gate. I imagine you all probably saw that one on your way in. It's decent enough. If you're looking for a good hot meal, the Hellhounds Lodge is the place to go. They ask them for their beef stew. It's actual beef, not whatever meats they dredge up, to toss into it. They give you directions. It's closer in toward the middle of town.
I'm going to thank them for their directions and for their suggestion of the beef stew.
All right. So you guys follow assuming no one has any other anything else they would like to do beforehand or any objections. You guys follow their directions and fairly quickly are able to locate a building with a sign hanging over. It's a large black dog with a piece of steak clutched, like a piece of meat clutched in its jaws, and a mug of ale in a paw. So presumably this is it. You step inside, and you find a pretty packed inn. There's most of the tables are full. Looks like mostly locals. No soldiers as of right now, but the majority of the soldiers at the camp you just saw. Pretty abuzz with activity, and if you stop to listen in, mostly discussing the recent events. This seems to have gotten the town in a bit of a buzz. Like, we don't have television. This is the closest thing to like mass entertainment.
All right. Then I suppose if this is just kind of Caius is going to go ahead and he's going to move up. He's going to get a seat at the bar. Is it so busy that I'm not able to get a hold of the bartender? Or
no, the bartender is working. He's down at one end of the bar. He's pouring some. He's pouring several mugs of ale from a large barrel. He's a fairly slender male halfling.
Cute.
And he sees Caius and presumably the rest of the party as well approaching the bar, glances over, and kind of nods in acknowledgement. Just, I'll be with you in just a minute.
Can we sit at any table we want?
Well, anyone you can find that's open. And he hops down off of the stool that he was standing on to fill the mugs, completely disappears under the bar other than a little tuft of hair, walks over to one end, hops up on another stool, and begins passing out mugs of ale.
I thought that sentence was going to stop there. For a second, I was like, what?
Yeah, he leaps into the abyss that is behind the bar, and you never see him again.
Just, dude, it's like, pour the ale. Thunk. What happened?
Went into his pocket dimension.
Well, the first thing I'm going to ask him, if he's available to talk, is how has any adventuring parties been through recently?
After a minute or two, he takes another couple orders yelled from various tables, goes back to the kitchen, relays the orders back to there, comes over, again, a little tuft of hair coming along behind the bar, hops up, climbs up on a stool, leans a elbow on the bar. So, what can I do for you? And I assume then you lead off asking about the adventuring parties.
I want to know if there's... what is it?
Demisha asks, do you have any rabbit on the menu?
He addresses the food question first. Well, we had a hunter bring in some rabbit yesterday. Most of it we sold last night, but I think the kitchen's still got a few. I'll see what we can fix up for you. You got some braised deer that's been getting some compliments on, and Of course, we got the stew, like we do every night.
Yes, I've heard quite a few good things about your stew.
Best in town. He looks rather proud of that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put out enough money to cover everyone for ale at least. I want to do that myself.
Sure.
Oh, thanks.
For the food, though, you're all on your own.
Lisa's going to politely decline the ale and instead have something non-alcoholic.
Well, what other option do you have?
Normally they serve like milk and stuff at taverns or water.
Oh, I'm sure you can probably find that, yeah.
Yeah, they have they don't have milk in just like in stock right now. It's just some water. He does look a little odd. He does look a little askance at you that you want something non-alcoholic. That just seems odd to him, but whatever.
Also, outside of the adventure question too, I also wanted to ask, what he thinks of the public lashings that have been taking place, and getting some more information exactly how often and whatever, and because we noticed it as soon as we came in, so I'm a little concerned about what's going on with that.
I would also pipe in about just to probably ask him like if soldiers populate this bar, like if it's a common meeting place for them.
So I'll say he goes off. He kind of like gets you your drinks, passes whatever orders you have off to the kitchen, then comes back and starts fielding some of these questions. Regarding the adventurers, he kind of thinks adventurers particularly not that I can say. There were plenty of merchants, plenty of traders going back and forth up and down the roads, but I don't know that most of them would call themselves adventurers. There was old Pete who decided to grab himself a spear. It was a stick or a rock on the end of a stick, and said he was going to go out and slay a dragon. But he says all kinds of things. He'll probably be back in a week or so. Find a nice tree or something. Soldiers. When they're on leave, they come in here reasonably often. Don't imagine you're going to get too much tonight, though.
Yeah, I'm going to nudge Caius because when he mentioned like merchants, I'm nudging him like, is this place on the bill of sale? Like I'm whispering it to him. That way we can relay the information.
Well, it was supposed to be worth checking again. I do have those sheets.
Yeah. And let's see. You had also asked about the soldiers. You asked about adventurers, and you asked about what he thought about the floggings.
Yes.
At that, he kind of shakes his head and is like, it's a damned odd business. Never known. I've lived here all 73 years of my life thus far, and I have never known the Legion to flog their own publicly like that. It's been strange things been happening. The soldiers been talking about they've been getting. Everyone's had weird dreams recently, but the soldiers, they seem to have been getting it the worst. You can see it in their eyes, even the ones that don't talk about it. There's something going on that's got them scared. And most of these people are folks who ain't scared of much of anything. And I've heard some of the officers in here talking. They've been having a harder time keeping the men in line. And I guess that's why the legate's taken to to discipline troops out in the street like this. I guess he's trying to send a message. I don't see what kind of message he's going to send with it.
That would explain that there's not been any patrols down in the forest.
I think there's more to it than that. But it definitely is worrying. Do you know if the commander has taken any audiences recently? I don't know if you would, but do you happen to know if anyone's been trying to meet with him?
Shakes his head, not that I know of. Legion keeps their business, we keep ours. Never, them high up aristocratic types. They're not the kind to come in a low down bar like this, but
right.
Never came to my bar before.
Laughs to herself a little bit.
Yes, because we're gonna be taking an effort to meet with him, and I wasn't sure if that would be a difficult or an easy circumstance to do. I guess we just have to start early in the morning then.
Yeah, he kind of like looks you all up and down. Is like, well, I hope you got some kind of reason for it. I don't usually know most military officers to take folks who just walk in off the street saying they want to chat, but I don't know.
No, we have credentials for it. But I was just hoping we'd be able to get a little more information from, out in the town here, but I'm not sure if there's really much more to receive.
Soldiers aren't likely to talk with the shape that we saw them in, though.
No, but we're going to have to try and get from them what we can. If they're as downtrodden as they are, they may be more likely to speak about the issues, as long as they aren't, in fear of being flogged again.
No.
All right, well, that's all the questions I had.
All right. Well, the food comes out. Beef stew was as good as good as they said. There was a couple rabbits still left over from the night before, so they're able to make you up a nice little, rabbit-based stew or roast rabbit, however you feel like on that one.
Roast rabbit.
Yeah,
Roast
you guys are all able to get a good hot meal, some ale in you if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
At first, Demetia starts eating it with her bare hands.
Lise nudges her and just says, "Manners."
Then, with her mouth full, like big chubby cheeks, she slowly grabs her silverware.
Ada was just kind of holding the bowl and drinking out of it, and she's gonna elbow Lise and say, "Leave her alone. This is a pub."
Yeah, looking around, fully a quarter to a half of people are just kind of digging in with their hands, including several of the people having stew. They're just kind of doing like it is and just picking up the bowl and drinking out of it and picking up little bits and popping in their mouth.
That's what Ada is actively doing.
Yeah.
Lise is just shaking his head because he's just not used to this.
Yeah, no one has any sort of respect anymore, it seems.
If you check you also said you wanted to check some of the bills of sale and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to see if this is listed on any of them.
None. Some of the just vegetables were headed for someone by the name of Albuck and HHL letters after that. You figure that might be standing for Hellhound Lodge.
Okay. Well, since we're here, then I will go ahead and let him know about what had happened, and that most likely
make sure he's Albuck first.
Well, yeah, I'll ask him about that. Yeah, are you? Would you happen to be Albuck?
Aye, that's me.
Okay. When we were traveling up here, we came across a carriage that was attacked by kobolds. There were some bill of sales left inside. It appears that there was a delivery of vegetables for you here. Just thought I'd let you know that you're probably not going to be getting that.
Kobolds, you say? They haven't been seen in numbers around these parts for 30, 40 years at least.
Wait,
it's
really?
Strange. Yeah, I mean, there's always stories of a few of them off in the hills and in the forests, but they stay off the road, stay out of the way of civilized folk like you and I.
Peculiar.
I mean, so again, we just ran into him. Has that been happening more recently, on the other trails, or?
I mean, kobolds per se, not necessarily, but heard word of this isn't. He kind of motions toward the papers that you're holding. This isn't the first shipment I've lost to banditry of some description.
All right. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Go ahead.
As you're speaking, you hear kind of a cough behind you, like a very, very small, quiet cough. You look down and there is this absolutely tiny halfling girl, probably no more than like 1.5 feet tall, like standing next to your chair, staring up at you, is like, excuse me, are you all adventurers?
To some extent.
Ada picks her up. And says,
Yeah, Kaya says like to some extent, and she just like her eyes go wide. She's like, "Wow, yeah, real life adventures, really?" And just like launches in like, "Yeah, my name's Melly. Like, I love hearing adventures. Do you have any stories you could tell me? Have you slain any dragons?" He knows like Alabuk is like shaking his head and smiling a little bit, and says something about like, "Now don't you go talking their ears off too much. These folks are tired, and I bet they probably want to sleep here soon." And she kind of like nods, like, "Yeah, I won't talk to him too long, Dad."
Demisha looks at her and says, "Actually, just earlier today we killed like 6 tiny dragons."
She is like, he like just like sits back shocked. It's like, you must be like 6 dragons. That's like 10 dragons. That you must be the best adventurers ever.
Lise just looks back at Albuck to just shrug his head like, don't take her seriously.
"We're also really good mathematicians, which is important," she says as she points to her.
Lise is just shaking his head at this point, and again he just mentions kite.
Yeah, the girl doesn't seem to really notice the comment about mathematicians. Instead, firing off like a string of questions, like, what kind of dragons were they? Where did you find them? Like, how did you kill them? Were they big? Were they scary? Like just one right after the other without really giving you a chance to answer. When
she finishes asking all the questions, Demisha is gonna say yes.
Ada is going to the best of her recollection, answer all the questions in order as they were asked.
All right. How long are you going to keep this up?
Till Ada finishes her food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she will, if you let her, she will sit there in your lap and talk to you for the next like 2 or 3 hours. About adventuring and how she's going to be an adventurer one day when she grows up.
Caius goes ahead and reaches into the little tinker box that he has, and he actually pulls out this little carving of a great sword that he was working on, and he actually gives it to her, just saying like, I hope that when you become an adventurer when you grow up, you're the best one ever.
Man, guys, we're like the
she
nicest
like again
party.
Again, she like just looks at it wide-eyed and is like, wow, thank you so much, mister. Like, this is amazing. And like holds over like, Dad, look what I got. And it's like, yeah, I see it, honey. Well, see if we can get your mother to
at that point.
And she like runs around the counter, hops up into her dad's arms. Like, he's like, that's great, sweetie. We'll see if we can get your mother to make you a nice, little thing you can wear that around your neck. And he kind of nods, and, nods a thank you to you all as well.
All right. Well, Caius is about done then. He's going to get up. He's going to go ahead and take one of the rooms if he can afford one. How much are the rooms, by the way?
1 second here.
Mm-hmm. I assume they're less than 1 gold.
and how much do I
Yes.
owe for the meal?
Yeah, hang on just a second. Yeah. So rooms at a fairly decent inn are 2 silver apiece. Mugs of ale are 5 copper each, which is a little bit high, but it's good ale. And 2 silver for a meal if you got food.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and mark that off my sheet. All right.
What's the conversion gold to silver?
It's 10 silver to a gold.
Yes.
It's 10 through everything, isn't it? 10 copper.
Yes.
10. Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, before you guys pay, Lee stops you and takes out the silver pieces and just pays that way instead of breaking gold.
Oh, okay. That works.
He
Okay.
just, I'll cover it this time. You can pay me back later.
Okay.
Ada is very happy at not having to pay for anything, especially because she's coming on this trip and not getting paid for it.
Alexander gives Lisa gold.
Demisha
That pretty much
says,
covers everyone.
Demisha goes over to Lise and hugs him. And while she's over there, she whispers into his ear, I knew you were only pretending not to like me.
Bluff check. I am rolling a bluff check.
He's gonna stab her. He's just gonna stab her one day.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Bluff check. 26 to not be completely repulsed.
What's not?
See if I can notice. No.
The important distinction is you're not rolling to not be repulsed. You're rolling to not appear repulsed.
Yeah, Lise is completely repulsed, but he is trying to seem polite and just like, thank you, but we're not friends yet. We're just traveling partners.
Business partners.
For now.
You are so fucking creepy.
Yeah, I'm starting to
so goddamn scary.
like not feel good about paying you.
Ada's gonna say thank you and leave it at that.
At least thanks her in return for he just looks down at Denisha and just like, can someone get her off me?
Ada will. Ada will do.
Once I get up to my room, I'm just gonna let you know that I'm gonna spend some time during the night working with that wood that I picked up off of the cart. I'm attempting to make a duplicate of Eustacia's mask. Okay.
All right. Roll me another. This is similar to little woodworking carving that you do, so I'll let you roll a craft trinket on this.
Craft trinket. Got it.
I got a 12 on gently prying Demisha off.
Okay.
I know
Yeah,
I know I'm really pushing this whole craft trinket thing. I apologize.
That's
fine.
fine.
Okay.
I want to see what you make.
Well, you know what I'm making now. You should be
I
obvious.
know what you're making, yes, but Ada doesn't.
Okay. Let's see. That's going to be not bad. It's going to be a 23.
Okay. Yeah. So again, it's outside of what you normally do. But tell Justitia to here, just face me and stand still. And hold it up next to it, and you look at it, it's like, yeah, that's pretty decent,
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'll need to get some paint, obviously, but once I get some paint, I think it will be fine. Yep.
Right.
Oh, I also go ahead and attach the leather straps to it as well, so that it can actually be worn.
Okay.
Yep. All right. That's good.
So each of you, I assume each of you get your own separate room?
I mean, Lise paid for them, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I ballparked it to like 15 silver pieces between the food and the rooms.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you guys, most of the people in here are, townsfolk. So the rooms are, despite the inn's currently being packed, the rooms are pretty much free. There's a few other people staying, but not many. You guys, again, depending on how late you stay down in the common room, the party keeps going for a while. The supper crowd kind of dies out, and then later on the late evening
Get
drinking
drunk
crowd starts pulling in.
Well, Lise only needs reverie for 4 hours, so he can stay up late gathering information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Largely Lise, I'm assuming, is just kind of hanging out, quietly listening in mostly.
Listening in, and if he finds someone that has anything that might be pertinent, he just nudges over a whatever they're drinking. Like, he buys them a new drink and just tries to pry some information.
Okay. Hang on just a second. Okay. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot new, pretty similar kind of talk that you've heard before. You do hear one fellow just discussing, the odd behavior among the Legion recently. Mentions that, that he lives near the east gate of the town, and he saw General Alice and a party ride out one night, and they were out for a couple weeks, and they came back, and that's when all this weird stuff happened. And doesn't it's like, I'm not saying that caused it, but yeah, I think he, ran across something that wormed its way into his head out there, out in the wilds,
I'm gonna choose to chat him up and just try to get as much out of him as possible. I'll seem friendly and not like super intrusive, just like as a traveler who's trying to figure out things and just someone new to the area, trying to get their bearings and make sure they ain't running afoul of anything.
Yeah, he's more than happy to talk to you, but unfortunately he doesn't have a whole lot more information.
Any soldier names besides Leggett or anything that we can pick out?
Not particularly. Like, he doesn't know anything more than just he was there by the gate.
Okay, so he doesn't recognize any soldiers or by name. Gotcha.
Not particularly. And we are getting past 11:30, so yeah, go ahead.
Oh, this was one about the time. I have to get. I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay.
Okay.
I have to step away from the desk. Yeah.
But yeah, there's, in general, like, the civilians here aren't going to know a whole lot about what the army was doing, like, in detail. But yeah, you were able to pick up that little tidbit just listening around to people.
Yeah, I was just hoping I could pick up maybe like a soldier's name or something. That way I could have like used that to our advantage later.
Yeah. Alrighty, and like I said, we said we wanted to wrap this up around 11:30. We are getting past that time, and we are at a fairly good place to stop here. So,
Ada goes to sleep.
Yeah, unless y'all have anything major you want to bring up before we go and take a nap, I think we can call the session.
Do we get any story XP for today? We did have a combat. So.
You did have a combat. Let's see. I'll say story hasn't advanced a huge amount this session. I'll say 50 XP for everyone for potentially making that contact with the Kobold tribe.
So we should be at 470 of 1300, you said?
Yes.
Yep.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I can do math.
Yeah, all Lisa's gonna do is go up to his room, like, make sure everything can be latched and locked, make sure there's nothing up, because he's super paranoid.
Yeah.
When
He's doing a full check.
When Demisha goes to bed, she takes off her leather armor and then uses the robes that she normally wears over them as pajamas.
Also, at least
yeah,
make
the
sure
door's
his room was on the opposite of Domisha, just as like little fun fact.
Yeah, the door latches, but it's not super secure. If you want to, do something about improving that, you can.
At least we'll purchase a padlock in the future.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. So, like I said, unless there's anything else major y'all want to address, I think we can call it here.
No, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't do anything with those kobold ears here. The guy would have been repulsed by him.
Okay, like usual, I got my schedule on Saturday. I also have that out so we can work out the next schedule of games. So.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get my schedule because the one who usually writes it is also on Christmas vacation, so I don't know when I'm going to get it from her.
Okay.
So, do you not know when you actually, work next, or?
I work the next 3 days. I work the weekends 12 to 8 and New Year's Eve 4 to 8.
Ew.
After that, I have no idea.
But again, just as before, though, I do like to do an end session review because I like doing that.
Yeah.
Sure. Go for it.
Yes. Again, I still think you stuttered a lot more tonight. I noticed. Did we throw you a lot more curveballs or something? I noticed that this night.
I wasn't necessarily expecting you guys to befriend the kobold, but I have general notes planned up, and I generally fill in the details. And sometimes, I just can't think. I know generally what I want a character to say, but I just can't come up with dialogue in the moment.
That's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just was wondering. I always like to know. I always like to usually ask too when I played before. Was how could have things gone differently? What was your original plan before we kind of went the way we went? Like, I mean, obviously, we know defending the kobold wasn't one of them. Did anything else happen that was kind of not on the planned path there?
Not particularly, other than taking the kobold prisoner.
Yeah.
Y'all
Okay.
pretty much didn't really throw me for a loop this time around.
Good. But yeah, no, it's still a lot of fun. I'm still enjoying it quite a bit, which is good. I don't know how everyone else feels though. Is everyone else enjoying it all right, or?
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
happy I was
okay.
able to put my roguishness to use more than our combat practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kaze?
It was okay. Had fun.
Okay.
So, thanks to everybody who came in to watch tonight. I noticed we had up to 3 viewers for a while.
That's very good.
And thanks to Alexa Bees for following again. Means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Means a lot to us, I imagine.
It does.
Okay,
Alright.
well then, I guess we'll see you all sometime next week. Don't know when. Just keep an eye on the Discord announcements.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright.
And so, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.